Good morning, Mr. Bashe. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, DCJ.
I apologize that we are starting 10 minutes late, but let's proceed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Basson, we are simply continuing to lead your evidence that you started presenting yesterday.
Meneer Basson, ons gaan vanoggend net voortgaan om u getuienis te lei waar ons gister opgehou het. Verstaan u dit?
Verstaan.
Understood?
I'm sorry, let me just confirm for the record that the new interpreter has been sworn in. So, but Mr. Bashe, it looks like my staff didn't give me the file that has got Mr. Basson's statement, because I believe it's
a very small one. It is indeed.
Yeah, Okay, I've got it now. We can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
I think we will have to start afresh. In other words, in terms of the evidence of Mr. Basson, I believe we should rather start afresh and not continue from where we left off yesterday, because there was a challenge with the interpreter. We don't want a situation where part of Mr. Basson's evidence may be said to be tainted because the interpreter wasn't doing a good job. So I think let's start afresh.
We'll do that, Chairman.
Thank you. So you understand that, Mr. Basson, I think the interpreter might not have been paying attention to what I was saying because she thought I was just speaking to counsel only. Did you understand what I said, Ms. Interpreter?
Meneer Basson, ons gaan in plaas van om nou net aan te gaan van die getuienis waar u opgehou het gister, gaan ons eerder voort begin met u getuienis. Heeltemal van die begin af, aangesien daar 'n probleem was met die tolk gister, want ons wil nie hê dat daar probleme moet wees in die getuienis wat al reeds gister gelei is nie. So verstaan u dit, dan dat ons gaan voort begin met u getuienis.
Ek verstaan dit.
Understood.
Verstaan dit.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Basson, I'm actually going to start right at the beginning and ask you to identify the name on page 1 of your statement.
Ek gaan reg van voor begin, meneer, en ek gaan vir u vra om op bladsy 1 van u verklaring die naam daarop te identifiseer.
Willie Basson.
Willie Basson.
Then, Mr. Basson, if you could go to page 6 of your statement.
Kan u dan voortgaan na bladsy 6 van u verklaring?
There, or rather above the word deponent, there is a signature. Whose signature is that?
Net bo die woord deposant is daar 'n handtekening. Wie se handtekening is dit?
Dis myne.
My signature, Chair.
On what date and at what place did you depose to this affidavit?
Op watter dag en waar het u hierdie verklaring afgegee?
Die 26ste Junie, vrede.
The 26th of June, vrede.
And you are familiar with the contents of this document?
En u is vertroud met die inhoud van hierdie verklaring?
Ja.
I am.
Thank you. Mr. Basson, where do you live?
Kan u vir ons sê waar is u woonagtig?
In Kerkstraat in Vrede.
In Church Street in Vrede.
Do you have a home anywhere else?
Het u enige ander plek ook 'n tuiste?
Ja, ek het 'n paar.
I have a few.
You have a home down the road in Warden.
U het ook net af in die straat 'n tuiste in Warden. Is dit so?
Ja,
Correct?
Where are you employed?
Is u werksaam, meneer?
ja, ek is eienaar van 'n besigheid.
I am an owner of a business.
What is the nature of the business that you conduct?
Wat is die aard van die besigheid wat u het?
Grondverskywing, vervoer. Ek het sandteater, stene, borrelstore, winkels. Baie meer.
It's earth moving equipment, transport, liquor stores, shops. I have many businesses.
In Vrede, what business do you own?
In Vrede, wat se besigheid besit u daar?
Vrede trekkers, grondwerke,
Vrede Tractors,
grondwerke, ja. It's a earth-moving business.
earth moving business. Excuse.
Yes, I'm looking at paragraph 5 of your statement.
Kan ons gaan na paragraaf 5 van u verklaring, meneer?
What do you do with this earth-moving equipment?
Wat doen u met hierdie aardverskywing toerusting?
Ek bou paaie, damme en ek vuur hulle uit ook.
I build roads, dams, and I also rent it out.
You are also a farmer,
U is ook 'n boer,
Ja,
correct?
and you know quite a few farmers in the local area of Vrede.
En u ken ook redelik van die boere in die area daar in Vrede.
dis reg.
That is correct, Chair.
Do you by any chance know any of the 4 commercial farmers who had a farm where the current Vrede dairy farm is located on that land?
Ken u moontlik enige van die 4 kommersiële boere waar hulle geboer het waar die huidige Vrede melkery is?
Ja, ek ken hulle.
I do know them.
Would you know who the occupant of the portion on which the Vrede dairy farm currently operates from, who the occupant of that farm was before Estina took it over?
Meneer, op die porsie waar die Vrede melkeryplaas tans is, weet u wie is dit wat daar gebly het? Voor in die tyd van Estina.
Ja. Wel, dit was Krynous Lust boerdery.
It was Krynous Rust farming,
Was die Greiling broers.
was the Greiling brothers.
Who was the immediate past tenant of that property?
Wie was die onmiddellike vorige huurder gewees op daardie perseel?
Greiling.
Greiling.
And who originally owned that property?
Wie het daardie eiendom oorspronklik besit?
Munisipaliteit.
The municipality.
Yes. Were any of those 4 commercial farmers,
I'm sorry, Ms. Kabashe, I'm not sure whether Mr. Person understood your question. I think your question was who was the immediate tenant, who was the tenant immediately before the Vrede dairy farm started in that land, and I think the answer was the municipality. I think the understanding is that the municipality was the owner rather than the tenant. Do you want to interpret that, Ms. Interpreter?
Meneer, die voorsitter dink dat u moontlik die vraag verkeerd verstaan het. Die vraag wat die advokaat aan u gevra het is wie was die onmiddellike huurder voor die Vrede melkery boerdery daar begin het? U antwoord was gewees die munisipaliteit, maar dit is eerder dat die munisipaliteit die eienaar was. So voor die Vrede melkery boerdery begin het, wie was die huurder voor dit gewees?
Greiling.
Greiling, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Then my next question was simply, the 4 commercial farmers who occupied that farm, did they dabble in dairy farming or some other form of farming?
Die 4 kommersiële boere wat daardie eiendom beset het voor die Vrede melkeryplaas. Waarin het hulle geboer? Was dit 'n melkery gewees? Was dit enige ander boerdery gewees?
Nee, het was nie melkery nie, dit was vleisbeeste, skape en saaiery. Saaiery is dan mielies en haver.
It was not a dairy farm. They farmed in red meat cattle, sheep, and then it was farming with regards to maize, etc.
Yes. What about you, Mr. Basson? Are you a dairy farmer?
Meneer, wat van u? Is u 'n melkboer?
Nee, ek is 'n boer met beeste vleisras.
No, I am not a dairy farmer. My farming is with regards to red meat cattle.
Yes. Let's move on to our next aspect,
As ons kan voortgaan na die volgende aspek toe,
which is your association with Estina.
en dit is met betrekking tot u assosiasie met Estina.
How did you come to have contact with Estina?
Hoe het dit gebeur dat u kontak met Estina gemaak het?
Jy sien die vorige kontrakteurs wat daar gewerk het hulle te veel gevra, soos hulle sê overcharge, né? Toe het hulle gehoor van my en hulle het my laat kom. Toe hulle ek met 'n damwal en 'n spruitbou en 'n pad te goed regmaak. En van daai oomblik af was ek al die tyd daar tot hulle weg is.
The contractor, the earlier contractor, asked them too much. They overcharged them. So they heard about me. They requested me to go there and do work for them, enlarging dam, building a road, and I was there up until they left.
Yes. When did you start rendering services at the Vrede Dairy Farm?
Wanneer is dit wat u begin dienste lewer het by die Vrede melkeryplaas?
Ek moet om by 2000, einde 2012, begin 2013 wees.
Chairperson, it was round about 2012 to the beginning of 2013.
Did you know any of those contractors who had been overcharging the management at Estina?
Daardie kontrakteure wat die bestuur by Estina te veel gevra het, soos u gesê het u enige van daardie kontrakteurs geken?
Nee, nie eintlik nie.
No, not really.
They were not from the locality, not from Vrede, Memel, Warden.
Hulle was nie daar van die area gewees, van Vrede, Warden en daardie area gewees nie.
Nee,
No.
Do you know where they were from?
Weet u van waar af hulle gekom het?
Ermelo, Nelspruit
Ermelo,
en Nelspruit is.
Nelspruit,
En ek dink Standerton ook.
and I also think from Standerton.
So when you took over after they left, were there any other contractors at the Vrede Dairy Farm?
Toe u daar oorneem, was daar ook ander kontrakteurs by die Vrede melkeryplaas gewees?
Ja, dit was Koos Eksteen, hy is eintlik 'n ingenieur.
Correct, it was Koos Eksteen, he is actually an engineer.
Had Koos Eksteen been working with those contractors whose services were terminated?
Koos Eksteen, het hy met die ander kontrakteurs gewerk, wie se dienste beëindig is?
Ek is nie seker nie, maar ek het al die tyd saam met hom gewerk en ek het van my betalings aan hom gedoen, nie aan Estina nie. So hy het werk by Estina gekry en dan gee dit vir my.
I am not sure, but I worked with him the whole time. I also invoiced him, not Estina. He obtained the work from Estina.
Oh, can we then understand this clearly? Did Estina contract with you directly, or did Estina contract with you through Koos Eksteen's company?
Ons sal net sekerheid kry, meneer, het Estina u direk ingekontrakteer of het Estina u ingekontrakteer deur middel van Koos Eksteen?
Estina het my direk gehuur, maar Koos het met ander werke waarmee hulle reeds besig was, my ingekry om vir hulle te werk.
Estina contracted me directly, but Koos Eksteen had other work which they contracted him in.
So the work that Koos Eksteen was doing was at the farm.
So die werk wat Koos Eksteen gedoen het, was by die plaas gewees.
Ja,
Correct?
Was Koos Eksteen a local chap?
nou, sorry,
Was Koos Eksteen iemand van die area gewees, meneer?
Pretoria.
No, from Pretoria.
And how long did he remain on contract at the farm?
Hoe lank het hy op kontrak gebly daar op die plaas?
Maklik 8 maande na 12 maande.
Easily 8 to 12 months.
You say you worked closely with him. What work did the two of you do together?
Meneer, u het gesê dat u saam met hom nou gewerk het. Wat se tipe werk het meneer en hy gedoen?
Right, ek het die grondwerke gedoen, gelyk gemaak,
Hy het
opgevul, hy het dit uitgemeet, want hy's ingenieur. Ongelukkig, ek weet nou nie wat die Afrikaanse woord, die man te dumpy level, jy weet.
ja.
Want hy ons gewys hoe moet ons waar op dit en dit en.
Okay. I did the earth moving part. I filled it up. He measured it out. You call it dumpy level. So he showed us what to do there.
Okay. Who was the overall manager at the farm at the time you and Koos were working together?
Toe meneer en Koos saamgewerk het, wie was die bestuurder, die algehele bestuurder daar op die plaas gewees?
CP Pras.
CP Pras.
Would that be Mr. Chandarama Prasad, also known as CP in the area?
Sal dit meneer Chandarama Prasad wees, ook meer bekend as CP in die area?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Chairperson.
Did Mr. Prasad have a house in town or did he live on the farm?
Meneer Prasad, het hy 'n huis in die dorp gehad of het hy op die plaas gewoon?
Hy het 'n huis in die dorp.
He had a home in town.
Yes. So your evidence is that really from about late 2012 to 2013, your equipment was hired to do work on the farm.
Meneer, so u getuienis is dan vanaf laat 2012 tot en met vroeg 2013 is u toerusting uitverhuur vir werk op die plaas.
Dis reg, maar baie langer tot die einde. Het Estina by my masjiene gehuur.
That is correct, but it was much longer. Up until the end, Estina rented machinery from me.
Up until Estina PTY Limited left the farm.
Is dit tot en met Estina eiendomsbeperk weg is van die plaas af.
Dis korrek.
That is correct, Chairperson.
Are you still involved in work at the farm?
Is u steeds betrokke met werk daar op die plaas?
Ja,
Yes.
And have you been working there all along, even after Estina left?
En selfs nadat Estina daar weg is, werk u nou nog daar die hele tyd?
ja, en ek werk in al hulle plaasgereedskap. In my werkswinkels op die oomblik staan van hulle trekkers en implemente en bakkies wat ons regmaak.
That is correct. I've been doing work with him. Currently, in my workshop, there are tractors, implements and bakkies, which I am working on for them.
So when the Free State Development Corporation took over the farm, you were still working there as a contractor?
So toe die Vrystaat Ontwikkelingskorporasie daar oorgeneem het u steeds daar gewerk as 'n kontrakteur.
Ja,
Correct?
Who was the manager who was in charge of operations when the Free State Development Corporation took over the farm?
Toe die Vrystaat Ontwikkelingskorporasie oorgeneem het daar op die plaas, wie was die algemene of die algehele bestuurder daar gewees?
weet jy, ek weet nie.
I do not know.
When did Mr. Prasad leave? Did he
Wanneer-
leave when Estina packed up and left?
Wanneer is meneer Prasad daar weg? Is hy daar weg toe Estina opgepak het en daar weg is?
Nee, hy was toe nog 'n paar maande daar.
No, he was still there a few months.
So that would mean that it's possible that when the FDC took over, Mr. Prasad was still there.
So dan is dit moontlik toe die FDC, die Vrystaat Ontwikkelingskorporasie oorgeneem het, dat meneer Prasad steeds daar was op daardie stadium.
As ek mag sê, hy was 'n vrede, hy was nie op die plaas nie, want hy en 'n ander ou van Pakistan het 'n groot bakkery gebou
Okay. If I may say,
in die dorp.
he was in vrede, not on the farm, because he and a person from Pakistan built a big bakery in town.
Okay. Let me bring you back to your affidavit.
Ek wil u graag terugneem na u verklaring toe.
And at paragraph 8, you talk about earth-moving works related to various cattle sheds.
Ek wil u neem na paragraaf 8 toe. In hierdie paragraaf praat u van grondverskuiwing werk wat gedoen is met betrekking tot veeskure. Sien u dit?
Wat daar ek net sien. Right.
We may proceed.
If you go to annexure WB1, there you've included in your statement a invoice in the amount of 6,384 rand.
Indien u nou gaan na aanhangsel WB1, dit is op bladsy 7, sal u sien dat daar 'n faktuur is wat u aangeheg het met totale bedrag 6,384.
At tab number 1.
Right, ek het hom.
I do see it.
The very next page, page 8, has an invoice for 3,192.
As u dan blaai na die volgende bladsy toe, is daar 'n ander faktuur met bedrag 3,192.
And the third invoice is for 3,192 rand.
Die derde faktuur is in die bedrag 3,192, sien u dit? I do see it.
The fourth one, again, 3,192.
Daar is 'n
Rand.
vierde faktuur met die bedrag 3,192, sien u dit? I do see it.
The next one and the last one, all are for 3,192 rand.
En dan die volgende faktuur, sowel as die laaste een, is ook in die bedrag elkeen van 3,192. Sien u dit, meneer? I do see it.
Now, these invoices, what do they relate to? Do they relate to? No, just tell me what they relate to.
Hierdie fakture, met betrekking tot wat is dit, meneer?
Met ander woorde die werk wat hulle gedoen het.
In other words, the work they did.
You see here you've written hire of TLB.
Sien u dat op die faktuur is die beskrywing wat u geskryf het uithuur van
Dis
TLB.
korrek. Dis korrek.
That is correct, yes.
And because you annex those invoices to paragraph 8, do you want the chairman to understand that those invoices were for all the items you mentioned in paragraph 8?
En omdat u hierdie fakture koppel aan paragraaf 8, wil u dan hê dat die voorsitter moet verstaan dat hierdie fakture is vir wat u alles beskryf het, die toerusting wat hier en die werk wat beskryf is in paragraaf 8.
Dis vra my net weer.
May I repeat the question to the witness, chairperson? Hierdie fakture waardeur ons nou net gegaan het. U het gesê dat u hierdie fakture koppel aan paragraaf 8 wat u hiervan praat. Aanhangsel WB1. Dit is die fakture.
Kom net weer kyk.
Hierso is paragraaf 8.
Okay.
So hierdie wat u hier sê in hierdie paragraaf, die werk wat gedoen is, sê u dan dat die fakture wat aangeheg is, dat dit alles vir hierdie werk in paragraaf 8 was
Ja.
wat gedoen is. Correct?
Ja.
That amount approximates to about 23,000 rand. I just looked at the numbers very quickly now. That's just an approximate figure if I combine all those invoices.
As ek vinnig net deur die fakture se totale gaan, dan kom daardie fakture uit op 'n bedrag van rondom by 22,000, 23,000. Is dit korrek?
Ja.
Correct?
Thank you. The only thing I'd like you to explain to the chairman is what the purpose of the cattle sheds is.
Wat ek graag wil hê wat u moet verduidelik aan die voorsitter. Wat was die doel van die vee skure gewees? Wat is die rede vir dit gewees?
Kyk, daai melkbeeste is baie dierbeeste.
Ja.
En hulle het onder dak probeer voer, jy weet hulle het hokke onder die sheds gemaak.
Ja.
Dis wel vir 'n dag was.
The,
Dragtige koeie wat nou gaan kalf, is nou daarin, jy weet.
Chairperson, the reason for the cattle sheds are as follows. Dairy cattle is very expensive cattle, so they were placed under the roof or indoors. They were fed indoors. Cages or compartments for the cattle was built in the shed, and then also cattle who was pregnant and who was going to have
Kalf.
babies.
Calves.
They were calves.
Calves.
They were placed there as well.
Thank you. Did you build those cattle sheds?
Daardie veeskure het u dit gebou.
Nee, ek het net die grondwerke en van die konkreetwerke gedoen. Kyk, is groot goed daai, daar's 'n paar van hulle.
No, Chairperson, I did not build it. What I did was with regards to the earth-moving work which had to be done, concrete. It's very big sheds.
Do you know?
I'm sorry, Mr. Bash. I just want to mention that yesterday's interpreter said to me afterwards that part of his problem was that he was an urban person and was not used to the terminology that is used on the farms about equipment and so on. So I'm just seeing that she's also saying babies. I guess she's also urban.
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed.
Thank you, Chairman. Do you know who built those two? You said there were two cattle sheds, two large structures.
Het u gesê dat daar twee veeskure, twee groot strukture daar was?
Daar is meer.
There are more.
I'm specifically talking about the cattle sheds, though.
Ek verwys spesifiek na die veeskure, nie die ander skure nie.
Ja, dan 2.
I think two,
Do you know who built those two cattle sheds?
daardie twee,
Sheds.
Ja,
weet u wie daardie twee veeskure gebou het?
ek sien seker nie.
No, I am not sure.
So when you arrived to start working at the farm, those cattle sheds were up. They had been built already.
So toe u daar aankom op die plaas om die werk te doen, was daardie twee veeskure al reeds opgerig.
Dis korrek.
That is correct, yes.
Had you visited this farm before Estina took over the farm?
Voordat Estina die plaas oorgeneem het u daardie plaas besoek?
Ja, ek het, want ek is 'n service provider, ekskuus vir die Engels. Service provider van die munisipaliteit ook.
That is correct.
En ek was soon toe om trekkers se goed te gaan haal, om dit te herstel.
Okay. That is correct, Chairperson, because I am a service provider for the municipality. I went there to collect or pick up tractors for me to repair.
Were those two cattle sheds on the property before Estina arrived?
Daardie twee veeskure, was dit op die plaas gewees voordat Estina daar aangekom het op die plaas?
Nee.
No?
Yes, thank you. The next aspect I want to move to is your paragraph 9, where you speak about the processing plant.
Ek wil nou gaan na paragraaf 9 toe. In hierdie paragraaf praat u van die vervaardigingsaanleg. Sien u dit, meneer? I do see it.
In your paragraph 11, you speak about this processing plant.
In paragraaf 11 van die verklaring praat u van hierdie verwerkingsaanleg. Sien u dit, meneer?
Ja, kan ek jou so 'n sinnetjie vertel?
I do see it. May I tell you a sentence?
Please do. Can you just describe what you did, who you worked with, etc., to the chairman?
U kan voortgaan, meneer, as u vir ons 'n beskrywing kan gee wat u gedoen het en saam wie het u gewerk.
Right, die containers het van India afgekom. En ek is die enigste ou wat so groot kruin gehad het om die goed wat binne-in was uit te haal.
Oomblik.
En so aan.
The containers were shipped to the country from India, and I was the only person who had such a large crane to get the equipment or things out of the containers. Ja, meneer?
Right, en toe was daar Guptas gewees van India af.
There were Guptas from India.
En nie eintlik iemand het hulle my voorgestel nie, hulle was maar net daar.
Nobody really introduced them to me. They were just there. Ja, meneer?
En toe vra hulle vir my of ek hulle kan help met gereedskap.
Then they asked me if I could assist them with tools.
So ek het dit gedoen, maar toe kan hulle nie eintlik die werk doen nie. Toe het ek van my werktuigkundiges gestuur om hulle te help.
I did so, but then they could not really do the work. So then I sent some of my workers to assist.
Gasplante, welding masjiene, forklifts. Als wie aan kan dink om so 'n plek te bou. Ek gestuur en die ouens van my wat die werk ken.
Gas plants, welding machines, forklifts, any equipment which you can think of in order to erect such a place, as well as my workers who know the job.
So, I'm understanding you to say, one, you helped construct the milk processing plant itself.
So verstaan ek u dan reg as ek sê dat u behulpsaam was en u het gehelp om hierdie melkverwerkingsaanleg op te rig?
Ja, dis nou die aanleg wat yoghurt gaan maak en poeiermelk en dis dit waarvan sy praat.
Correct. Is this now the plant who would be making yogurt and powder milk? Is that what you are referring to?
That's the one that I'm referring to.
Dit is korrek, meneer. Dit is die een waarna ek
Ja.
verwys.
Ons het baie geld nog.
Yes.
Maar kyk, ek moet een ding by sê, né? Ek werk baie keer 10, 12 plekke
Ja.
op 'n slag.
Ja.
Konstruksie sites. So ek's nie elke dag daar nie. Ek kan nie presies vir jou sê wat het gebeur nie, maar ek probeer so eenmal in 2 dae, halfuur of ure al weet. Want my mense is maar daar.
Okay. That is correct. I was of great assistance. But I also have to add, I work at 10 to 12 places at a time. So I am not always there. I try to be there every second day at least, but my workers are there every day.
Who supervised the work that your workers were doing on a day-to-day basis?
Sorry.
Die werk wat u werkers gedoen het daar op 'n daaglikse basis, wie het hulle oorsien?
Die Guptas.
The Guptas?
Kyk, hulle het nie afgekom om 'n job te doen. Maar hulle kon dit nie regtig doen nie. Ek weet hulle het nie eens 'n skroewedraaier gehad nie, jy weet.
Okay. They came from India to do the job, but they could not really do the job. They did not even have a screwdriver.
So you are saying that there were 3 gentlemen who were there, who you believed were members of the Gupta family,
Meneer, sê u dan dat daar 3 mans was of 3 mense was en u het geglo dat hulle deel is van die Gupta familie?
Ja.
Correct.
and their job was to establish the milk processing plant from scratch.
En hulle werk was gewees om die melkvervaardigingsaanleg of plaas op te rig van niks af nie. Is dit hulle werk gewees?
Dis korrek.
That is correct, yes.
Who was responsible for the design of the building, for sketching the drawings for that particular building, just the milk processing plant?
Nou vir daardie spesifieke gebou, die melkverwerkingsaanleg of gebou, wie was die persoon gewees wat verantwoordelik was vir die tekeninge vir die argitektuur van daardie gebou, net daardie gebou?
Dit was een van daai Guptas. My planne saam met hom gebring van India af.
It was one of those Guptas. He brought plans with him from India.
So he then took you through the plans because you were the only person who could actually build this facility.
So hy het toe deur die planne met u gegaan omdat u die enigste een was wat hierdie fasiliteit kon bou.
Ja, nie met my werknemers.
Correct, but not with me, with my workers.
But the specifications were those of the 3 Gupta employees.
Maar die spesifikasies was gewees van daardie 3 Gupta persone. Dit
Ja.
was hulle spesifikasies gewees.
Van die planne af.
Correct, from the plans?
Chairman, with your permission, I would like to show Mr. Besson some of the pictures that we used when we started, just to
Yes.
confirm whether this is the same building that his company built, or whether this is a different building completely, with your permission.
Yes, that's fine.
Chairman, we have spare copies. I don't know if you want us to just hand one up for your convenience.
I think I still have,
We have yet, yes, that's the one, Chairman.
yes, okay, all right.
Meneer,
Get him to assist.
ons gaan vir u foto's wys sodat u kan bevestig of dit inderdaad die geboue is wat u gebou het of nie.
I am specifically looking at page 5 of that document. It's paginated at the bottom.
Ek kyk nou spesifiek na bladsy 5 van hierdie dokument. Dit is ondergemerk, hy is reeds op bladsy 5 vir u.
I think I think when we used it last time, we simply said this the hard copy of the slides that were shown. We didn't put it as an exhibit, but maybe we should put it as an exhibit. What do you think, Mr. Bash?
We had indicated that we would add it to the reference bundle, Chairman.
Oh, okay.
But
Yes.
it might be easier because we may have to show quite a few people
Yes.
this particular
Yes.
package.
Do you know what exhibit number we should give it?
I'm being
Yeah.
advised that it's,
Yes.
I'm advised that it will be item 96 in the reference bundle. That's if we include it in the reference bundle, Chairman.
Yes. Okay. The document that has been placed before the witness right now is a hard copy of the slides that were shown to me on the first day of the evidence relating to the Friede Dairy Farm. It will be added at the end of Exhibit WH, marked a reference bundle. As item 96, So I think we can just refer it as the hard copy of the slides or something like that.
Thank you, Chairman.
Just so that whoever reads knows what document is being referred to.
Thank you. I'm
Okay.
indebted to you, Chairman.
All right.
So this document, which we are calling the hard copy of the slides, has various pictures taken at the farm in April this year. If you could look at page 5, which I believe represents the milk processing plant.
Hierdie dokument wat u nou voor u het, ons noem dit die harde kopie van die skyfies wat gewys is. En hierdie foto's of hierdie bundel bevat verskeie foto's wat geneem is van die plaas in April hierdie jaar. So wat ek wil hê is u moet kyk na bladsy 5. Hy is reeds oop hier op bladsy 5. Die foto's wat u hier sien. Ek verneem hierdie is foto's van die melkvervaardigingsaanleg wat u gebou het. Is dit korrek?
Dis reg. Kyk, ons het nie die stoor gebou nie.
Ja.
Daai het ons gebou, daai afdakke.
Ja.
Daar is die boiler wat ek van praat, wat scrap metal aangekom het. Ons kon dit nie gister sien nie, sy het my gewys.
Okay.
Daar is die ding wat ek gesoek het, nee. Okay, dan het ons baie van die werk binne gedoen. Konkreetwerk, soos daai is containers wat ons opgesit het. Maar soos daai het hulle self opgesit, daai netjies. Okay.
It is correct. It is photos of the milk processing plant, but we did not build that shed or that storeroom. We only built, and the witness pointed to the first photo on page number 5. That is the
Is it the silver grey
Daai afdak
shed?
het ons gebou. Daai ding het ons opgesit. Die boiler.
We erected the boiler and then there is a covering roof there which we built. You'll see on photo number 2, just to the right of the photo of the shed, that is a container. We also did the concrete work, and Chairperson, the witness page to page number 6. And
Yes.
pointed out to the photo at the top of the page in more or less the middle.
Yes,
Those things they
the equipment
erected
there,
themselves.
the equipment.
Yes, Chair.
Okay, who built the equipment or who installed it?
Hierdie toerusting wat jy sê wat hulle self gedoen het, wie is dit wat dit installeer het?
My ouens saam met die Guptas.
It was my workers together with the Guptas.
That is the installation.
Dit is nou die installasie
Installasie,
daarvan.
ja.
Correct, Chairperson?
Thank you.
Mr. Basson, you also, I heard the word scrap metal as you were giving your explanation. Can you just repeat what you were saying about scrap metal?
Jy het ook die woord skrootmetaal genoem. Kan jy net vir ons weer sê, wat het jy daarvan gesê?
Right, dis daai boiler wat daar agter die gebou is, né?
Ja?
Toe hy uit die containerhuis gelaas het, daar sulke stukke roes. Alwe stukke metaal soos 'n vis se skubbe
Okay.
afgeval van die ding is. Dan gaan jy kon sien van die goed is scrap metal, is nie reg nie. Dis nou ding wat hulle van India opgestuur het wat ons opgesit.
Okay. That boiler which you see on the photo, when that was taken out of the container, it was pieces. There was rust. Pieces fell off like fish's
Seppels,
shell,
skubbe.
my apologies.
Scales.
Scales, yes. It was scrap metal. You could see that it was not proper metal.
So what had been brought from India and was offloaded from the container when you were there was what you would call scrap metal, second-hand goods.
So dit wat gekom het van India af, uit daardie container uit of daardie houer uit, wat u of wat daar uitgehaal het, was skrootmateriaal. Dit was tweedehandse staal of materiaal gewees. Is dit so, meneer?
Ja.
Correct?
Dis die waarheid. En ek was daar toe dit uitgehaal is. Ek het dit gesien, toe sê ek vir my werkers, kykie, val die stukke geroeste shells af. Dit is kaboel.
That is correct. I was there, it's the truth, and I saw it. I still told my workers, look at how the rusty shells are falling off.
As you can see from the heading at the top of page 5 of the hard copy of slides, this processing plant, including some additional equipment, costs something in the region of 37 million rand.
Soos wat u ook kan sien op die hoofopskrif op bladsy 5, waar dit sê die melkprosesserings of vervaardigingsaanleg wat addisionele toerusting insluit, is rondom 37 miljoen rand wat dit gekos het. Sien jy dit, meneer?
Processing plant, dis nie die store nie, nee, dis net daai processing plant.
It's only the processing plant, not that storeroom.
And when you say not that storeroom, you're talking about the room on page 6, where you have a picture in the middle. When the chairman asked you, you said, yes, you assisted in installing that. Is that what you're calling the
Ja,
storeroom?
the Indians.
Yes.
Correct, the
But
engines,
ons het nie die store opgesit nie.
but we did not erect the storeroom.
I am sorry to ask again. I just want you to describe what you are calling the storeroom, Mr. Basson. I heard you talk about the roof earlier on. I really just want to, and that you say you installed the roof, or you helped build the roof of the big gray building. I simply want to understand what you are calling the storeroom, because you say you were not responsible for the storeroom.
Ek het vroeër gehoor wat u gepraat het van die dak, wat u gesê het u het die dak opgesit, maar wat is dit wat u van praat as u sê die stoorkamer? Die stoorkamer het u nie gebou nie. Wat is die stoorkamer?
Hierdie hele stoor.
This whole storeroom, and the witness is pointing to the long building depicted in photo 1 on page 5.
Yes, that helps. But are you saying you did put the roof up for
Sê-
that building?
Sê u dat u hierdie gebou se dak opgesit het of nie?
Nee, ek het daai afdak opgesit daar agter by die boiler.
No, I did not put up or erect the roof of this building. If you look at the left, to the left of that building, where the boiler is, you'll see there's a small roof there. That is which I built or erected.
If you could just mark it on the hard copy that you have, Mr. Basson, what you put up. But I can see that building. It's just behind the larger building, and it has a little gray roof.
Ek wil graag hê dat u moet uitmerk.
Ek het nie geskryf nie.
Chairperson, the pen does not.
They will give you a
Right
pen.
on.
Sorry, Liz?
Daai is die boiler. Dis 'n koorsteen.
The witness drew a square around the roof which was erected and also made a line on the photo where the boiler would be.
Thank you. Chairman, I don't know if you want to look at that now, or whether we'll look at it, you prefer to look at it a little later.
I'm easy. I can look at it. Just depends
At tea
on your
time.
next questions. Yeah, I can look at it later.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
Still,
I'm just wondering whether the person who lent the marker might not be needing it, or whether the witness will still be needing it. No, I think he indicates he has got more than one, so that's fine. Okay, all right. Let's
you.
continue.
Thank you, Chairman.
Let's say.
I'm looking at the interior of, still on page 5, I'm looking at the interior of this milk processing plant, Mr. Basson. And I can see the big boiler, you call it, and then there are some more further back in photo number 2.
As ek na die binnekant van hierdie aanleg kyk, en dit is nou nog steeds hier op foto nommer 5, dan kan ek sien die ketel of die boiler wat u van praat. En dan ook verder, bietjie agtertoe na daardie foto. In foto nommer 2 kan ek ook nog van hulle sien. Sien u dit, meneer?
Ja, hierdie is nie boilers nie, hierdie is containers.
Chairperson, this is not boilers, this is containers.
What are these containers used for, Mr. Basson? Do you know?
Hierdie houers, meneer, vir wat word dit gebruik?
Maybe to store milk in it, or because they told me they're going to press it for yogurt and power milk and things. So I think that is containers for milk.
No, Mr. Russia,
Chairman?
maybe it would,
You can tell him in this whole plant.
it would make things easier
Chairperson?
if, just hang on, if on pages 5 5 Yeah, on page 5, we marked the various parts because both you and the interpreter have spoken about photo 2 or picture 2. I see at the top of page 5 it says 2, but there are different photos of pictures, so maybe if we mark them, maybe the one with what I think is a shed would be, what do you say, A or 1?
1, please, Chairman.
1. And then the one with,
With the tank.
yeah, then that would be 2. And the one next to that would be 3. And the one on the extreme left at the bottom would be 4. The next one 5. Next one 6. Next one 7. So it makes things easy. Makes it easier when we talk to say, we're talking, okay, let me repeat. One,
Chairman, if I might, maybe
Yeah.
we should go over the page because it continues. It's the same
or
interior.
it continues.
Yes, sir.
Then in the next page, shouldn't we start from 1 on the basis that it's on page 6, or do you want us to continue? It might be more convenient if we start from 1.
That's
Then
in,
we'll just say on page 6, photo 1.
that's in order, Chairman.
Yeah. So the one on the extreme left would be number 1. The one next to it at the top would be 2. The one right at the corner at the top, extreme right, would be 3. The one immediate, well, maybe immediately below that one will be 4. And then the one at the bottom will be 5. Well, the page after that, there are only 2. One can say the one on the left and the other on the right.
Thank you, Chairman.
I think that should be fine. Do we? You got it right? Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You want to continue?
No, we only do this. Maybe what I could just ask this before you proceed, Ms. Kabasha. Maybe you can indicate whether at page 5, photos 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the interior of what I call the shed on page 1.
They are indeed,
They
Chairman.
are the interior.
They are the interior of that,
Yes,
what
of
you're
that,
calling the
yeah.
shed,
Okay,
photo
but-
number 1.
Yes, but that is the plant processing, that's the what? Plant
Milk processing
processing
plant.
plant.
Correct, Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Chairperson, the witness requested me to inform you about something.
Oh, yes, let him do so.
The witness indicated that this plant never worked one day.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes,
that's, yes.
how do you know that, Mr. Besson?
Hoe weet u dat hierdie aanleg nie een dag gewerk het nie?
Kyk, ons was altyd op die plaas en hierdie Guta se visas of iets het verval. Toe moes hulle teruggaan. Voor hulle kon start.
We were on the farm always, and the visas of the Guptas expired, so they had to go back before they started here.
Do you know if this building was in the condition depicted in these photographs when the Guptas left?
Toe die Guptas hier weg is, meneer, en hoe u nou hierdie aanleg sien in hierdie foto's, is dit die toestand waarin die aanleg was toe die Guptas hier weg is.
Ja.
Correct?
And then just for clarity, when you speak of the Guptas here at Vrede, you're talking about 3 individuals who had come from India to install this particular plant.
Meneer, en net om duidelikheid te kry, as u sê die Guptas, dan verwys u na 3 individuele wat gekom het van Indië af met die doel om hierdie te installeer. Is dit so?
Dit is so, hulle het nog hulle vrouens ook saamgebring.
Correct. They still brought their wives as well.
Maybe if I can follow up on that, do you call them the Guptas because you understood that that was their surname, or is that not the reason for calling them the Guptas?
Ek wil net duidelikheid kry, meneer, en mooi verstaan. U noem hulle die Guptas. Die rede hoekom u hulle so noem, is dit omdat u verstaan dat hulle van 'n Gupta is, of is dit nie die rede nie?
Dit is die rede.
That is the reason, Chairperson.
Thank you.
You are saying their surname was Gupta.
U sê dat hulle van Gupta was.
Ja.
Correct?
Do you know if, or did they at any point tell you that they were from a company called Paras?
Het hulle op enige stadium vir u vertel of gesê dat hulle van 'n maatskappy af is met die naam Paras?
Nooit.
Never.
The other name of the same company is VRS Foods Pty Limited.
Die ander naam van hierdie maatskappy is VRS Food Eiendomsbeperk. Ken jy daardie naam?
Nee, dis die eerste keer wat ek al van hoor.
No, Chairperson, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Jim.
The 3 persons that you say were Guptas, did you ever get to know what their names were?
Hierdie 3 persone wat u ken as die Guptas, het u ooit op enige stadium die geleentheid gehad om hulle name ook te ken, of ken jy hulle name nie?
Nee, ek ken nie hulle name nie.
I do not know their names, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Where did they and their wives live when they were in Vrede?
Toe hulle in Vrede was, waar was hulle en hulle vrouens woonagtig gewees?
Kyk, daar by Vrede is die leeuplaas, Morrison.
Morrison.
Ja, ek weet hulle was daar. En hulle het sommer op die perseel geslaap. En ek dink by CP in die huis ook.
In Vrede, the Lion Farm was there, Morrison. They also slept on the premises, and I know sometimes they stayed with CP
En sy huis in Vrede, en sy huis in Vrede.
at his house in Vrede.
Again, for clarity, these 3 gentlemen and their wives were not the same Gupta brothers who the newspapers have written about quite extensively, who lived in Saxonwold in Johannesburg.
Meneer, net vir duidelikheid en om seker te maak, hierdie 3 persone wat u na verwys as die Guptas, dit is nie dieselfde mense as die Gupta broers waaroor die media so breedvoerig oor berig het, wat in Saxonwold in Johannesburg gebly het.
Nee, glad nie.
No, not at all.
And I think if we just come back to the picture we're looking at, the hard copy of the slides, page 5, I just want you to help me understand whether these are dry walls or cement 1 brick walls. You can even go to page 6, it might be a little clearer there. Can you just help me, because you constructed These walls, I understand you to say.
Meneer, ek wil net graag by u weet, as ons nou hier op hierdie foto's kyk, hierdie mure, ek wil graag weet, wat is dit? Is dit van daai vals mure wat hulle die drywalling noem, of is dit konkreet, of is dit bakstene? Want verstaan ek jy reg dat u gesê het, dat u hierdie mure opgerig het?
Nee,
Nou,
ek het hulle nie opgerig nie, so ek weet nie wat die materiaal is daar nie. Maar hier lyk dit na bakstene.
I did not erect these walls, so I cannot say what material was used. But if you look on photo number 1, this seems to be bricks, but I cannot say.
That's photo number 1 on page 6.
Dis foto nommer 1 in op bladsy 6.
Ja, ja.
Correct?
Now, I'm very clear now, Mr. Basson, you did not build this building, and you certainly did not put up these walls.
Ek het nou sekerheid, meneer, u het glad nie hierdie gebou opgerig of gebou nie, en u het ook nie hierdie mure gebou nie, is dit so? Is dit korrek wat ek
Ja,
vir u
dis
sê?
korrek wat jy vir my sê.
That
What-
is correct.
What you did was install the equipment that came from that container.
Wat u gedoen het, is u het die toerusting wat van die houer of die container afgekom het, u het dit geïnstalleer.
Ja.
Correct?
You have then continued to say that, at paragraph 13, that you assisted Mr. Prasad in respect of cattle that had died.
U gaan verder by bladsy 4, paragraaf 13. Praat u verder hier dat u meneer Prasad behulpsaam was met betrekking tot vee wat gesterf het. Is dit korrek?
Dis korrek.
Correct?
Please tell the chairman about that.
Kan u vir die voorsitter bietjie meer hiervan vertel?
Kyk, toe ek op die plaas kom, né, toe begin die ribbebeen al wys van die beeste. Dis hoe jy maar 'n bees sien.
When I arrived on the farm, the ribs of the cattle was already showing. That is how you see cattle which is very skinny or underfed.
And this would have been end of 2012, early 2013.
En hierdie sou nou gewees het gedurende die einde van 2012, begin 2013. Is dit so?
Ja, dis so.
Yes, correct.
Yes, continue. What then were you asked to assist with?
U kan voortgaan en vir ons vertel, wat is u gevra om mee te help?
Hy het my gevra wat kan ek doen? Hoekom vrek dit goed? Wat is fout? Want toe lê daar dooie beeste, hulle tel dit nie eens op nie. Dooie kalvers.
Ja.
Toe bestaan hy in die water gedryf. Dis hoekom ek gesê dis 'n orgie daai, dis
Okay. He asked me, what can he do? Why is this happening? Because dead cattle was lying around, dead calves, drifting in the stream or the water. That is why I said that this is an orgy. This, you can see the cattle lying around there.
Who is he who you were talking to, Mr. Prasad?
As hy sê hy, verwys u na meneer Prasad.
CPO.
CP, correct?
So what did you do?
Wat het u toe dan gedoen, meneer?
Toe het ek vir hom gesê, hier's nie kos nie, die diere het nie kos nie.
I then told him, there's no food. This animals does not have food.
Toe sê hy, maar hulle loop hier op die gras, want die gras is so right vir 'n skaap, maar nie vir 'n bees nie.
Bedoel u hierdie hoogte van die grond af?
Nee, nou ek sê nou dis die grond, daai hoogte so. Net so. Die gras eet, nou 'n bees kan nie om korter eet nie, 'n skaap kan. Toe sê ek vir hom hierdie goed moet kos kry. En ek het toe vir hom gesê jy het net vir die begin R1 miljoen se voer nodig. Ek het dit vir hom uitgewerk.
He then replied and said, but the cattle is walking there and there's grass. And the witness demonstrated, holding his hand up and his other hand about so groot.
Ja.
This height from his hand,
Can we try and, can the witness indicate more or less how many centimeters he would estimate that to be?
As u nou
is dit
so hou,
50?
hoeveel sentimeter is dit?
Ek weet nie
As jy
hoeveel
moet
is daai.
skat.
50.
About 10 centimeters?
About 10 to 15, I would estimate,
okay.
10,
Chairman.
15 centimeter, sal jy
Okay.
saamstem
Ja.
daarmee? Correct, Chair, about 10, 15 centimeters.
That's how short the grass was.
Dit is hoe kort die gras was wat u van praat.
Ja, en die beeste kan dit glad nie eet. 'n Skaap kan dit nog bietjie eet, maar beeste glad.
Correct, Chairperson, and cattle cannot eat that. Sheep can still eat it shorter, but not cattle.
Yes.
So I worked out the feed for him, and I told him, as a starting point, he would need about R1,000,000 worth of feed.
Yes.
So his comment to you when you asked him about these cattle was that there was sufficient grass there for the cattle.
So meneer, toe u hom nou gevra het oor hierdie beeste,
So it looks like there's a problem with the pictures for the TV. Reverend Stemela is not here. He's the one who normally talks to the technicians. I think maybe we should take an adjournment.
Shall we take the tea adjournment early, Chairman?
Yes, let's take the tea adjournment so that it can be sorted out. Somebody can call the Reverend Stemela also to come in, and then he and the technicians can try and sort it out. We're going to take the adjournment so that in the meantime this issue can be sorted out, but we'll use that as a tea break as well. It's now about 8 minutes to 11. We'll come back at 11:15 just to give the technicians enough time to sort it out. We adjourn.
meneer, ons ervaar tegniese probleme. So ons gaan nou die teebreek vat tot en met ongeveer 11:15.
Dankie.
Are you ready? Yeah, let's proceed.
Yes, we are, Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Basson, when we broke for tea, we were talking about the cattle, the malnourished cattle, with the ribs showing, and the amount of grass that they were expected to eat.
Meneer Passon, voordat ons die teebreek gevat het, het ons gepraat van die beeste wat nie behoorlik gevoer was nie en die kort gras wat u van gepraat het, wat verwag was dat hulle daarvan af moet eet. Onthou jy dit?
Dis reg.
I do remember.
You also talked about the advice you gave to Mr. Prasad, that he would have to buy cattle feed.
U het ook vir ons vertel van die advies wat u vir meneer Prasad gegee het, dat hy voer vir die beeste moet aankoop. Is dit korrek?
Dis korrek.
That is correct.
Good. I just wanted to give you that context. Let's go back to your paragraph 13. How many cattle, the first time you were told about these cattle dying, roughly how many cattle had died when you got there?
Ek wil hê
And I'm
ons,
here looking at your paragraph 13.
wil hê ons moet teruggaan na paragraaf 13 toe. Toe jy nou daaraan kom en die beeste wat jy van praat wat daar dood lê, hoeveel beeste was dit gewees wat aanvanklik dood gegaan het?
Kyk, hulle het in 'n tydperk dood gegaan.
Ja.
Toe ek al gekom het seker 20, saam met die kalvers so 30.
Saam met die kalvers.
Ja.
This was during a time that they died, the cattle. But when I arrived there, it was about 20. If you count the calves in as well, about 30.
So it happened over a certain period of time.
So dit was oor 'n sekere tydperk gewees wat dit gebeur het.
As jy die volgende dag gaan kom, ons sal miskien nog 5 dood. So. Ek het 100 begrawe.
Correct, Chairperson. If you would arrive there the next day, about 5 would have died again. I buried about 100.
You buried about 100 since the first day you came and saw that there were cattle which had died.
Sê u dat vanaf die tydperk wat u daar aangekom het, wat u gesien het, die beeste het gevrek. Sê u van daardie tyd af het u omtrent 100 wat u begrawe het.
Ja, tot hulle nou ophou gevrek het, jy weet.
Correct, Chairperson, up until the point where they did not die anymore.
Okay.
You also say that you assisted in the burial of cattle 2 to 3 times after the first time.
U het ook gesê, na die eerste keer, het u ook gehelp omtrent 2 of 3 keer om beeste te begrawe, is dit korrek?
Ja, kyk, CPL het so klein laaigraf hier op die plaas. Want hulle het die beeste so op 'n hoop gegooi klomp.
That is
En
correct.
dan kom ek om begrawe. Dit is seker 3 keer gedoen.
CP had a small grave there on the farm where they dumped the cattle, and then I would bury them. It was about 2 or 3 times that I went.
And this was in 2013, or which year was this?
Hierdie wat u behulpsaam was met die begrawe van die beeste, was dit in 2013 of wanneer was dit, meneer?
Ek kan nie mooi onthou nie. Ek weet nie wat het ek hier gesien nie.
I cannot remember properly. I cannot remember what I stated here.
Yes. But would it have been soon after you began to have anything to do with the Friede Dairy Farm?
Ek verstaan dit, meneer, maar sal dit kort na die tydperk wees waar u begin te doen het
Nee,
met die
nee.
vrede
Hele
melkboerdery?
ruk daarna.
No, Chairperson, it was quite a while thereafter.
Okay, thank you.
En ek het hom gewaarsku, daar's nie geraas nie. Maar hy het eers nie afgeslaan nou.
And I did warn him that there's no grass, but he did not take that into consideration.
Did you give that warning soon after you began to have something to do with the dairy farm.
Hierdie waarskuwing wat u vir ons van vertel wat u vir hom gegee het u hom gewaarsku kort nadat u te doen begin
Ja,
doenig geraak het met die melkboerdery. Yes, Chairperson. Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
So I've understood that it was really hunger, malnutrition, that killed these particular cattle.
So verstaan ek reg dan meneer as ek sê dat hongerte en dat hulle nie genoegsaam gevoed was nie, dat dit die sterftes van die beeste veroorsaak het.
ja, hulle het gevrek van honger, niks anders.
That is correct. They died due to hunger, nothing else.
Dit was so erg, ek het 6 van my trokke vol voer. Daal het dadelik afgelei, kyk hulle voer dag en nag. Toe dit begin beter gaan, jy weet.
The situation was so dire that I had about 6 of my trucks offloading feed to see and ensure that they are fed day and night, and then it started getting better.
Did you ever ask Mr. Prasad or anybody from the Vrede Dairy Farm why it was that the cattle were not given cattle feed if there wasn't enough grass and why they had to die?
Meneer, het u ooit vir meneer Prasad of enige iemand daar gevra, wat is die rede hoekom daar nie voer is nie en dat hulle net van die gras moet lewe?
Ek het vir hom gesê, hoekom gee hulle nie kos vir die beeste nie? Toe sê hy vir my, is mos gras, kyk hoe loop hulle daar en eet. Maar daar is niks, hulle kry niks in nie.
I asked him, why do you not feed the cattle? And he said, but there's food, there's grass. Look, they are eating.
And what did you say in response to this answer?
En toe hy hierdie antwoord vir u gee, wat het u vir hom teruggesê?
Toe het ek hom verduidelik, ek kan daai gras vir 'n skaap gee, maar 'n bees kry dit nie en hy probeer nou maar om ietsie in te kry. Toe sê ek vir hom, jy moet dadelik voer, ek weet nie môre nie, vandag.
I explained to him that grass you can give to a sheep, but not to cattle. They cannot eat that. They try to get something in, but they don't. So I informed him that he has to make a plan to get feed immediately, not tomorrow, immediately.
And did he take your advice this time?
En hierdie advies wat u vir hom gegee het hy dit toe ingeneem? Het hy daardie
Ja,
advies?
het, maar toe sê hy vir my, hulle het nie dadelik geld nie. Kan ek nie goed vir hulle koop, want ek het op my plaas ook 'n klomp gehad.
Okay.
Sê ek, ja, sure. En hulle het my betaal op die einde van die dag.
Correct, Chairperson. He took the advice, but he asked me if I cannot buy feed for them because they do not have the finances. I also had some on my farm, so they reimbursed me eventually.
Thank you.
What you describe when you speak of Mr. Prasad's reaction is somebody who doesn't seem to know very much about farming. Would you agree with that proposition, Mr. Basson?
Meneer, dit wat u ons nou vertel, dit wil voorkom of meneer Prasad iemand is wat nie regtig veel van boerdery weet nie. Sal u saamstem met daardie stelling?
Definitief, hy weet nie.
Definitely, he does not know.
Did he have any advisors who were on staff, who were employed to assist him, advise him?
Was daar die werknemers van hom, was daar adviseurs gewees tussen daardie werknemers wat vir hom advies kon gee oor die boerdery?
Jong, dit was maar gewone plaaswerkers daar. Hulle het nie eintlik ook geweet nie, jy weet. As jy sien hoe hulle die implemente behandel, jy sien hulle het nie praktiese ondervinding van boerdery nie. Die hele spul was 'n orgie, dit was...
It was normal or general farm workers who also did not really know anything about farming. If you have a look how they handled or used the implements, then you would see they did not really have any practical sense of farming. That is why I said that this was a complete mess.
I
Nog iets sê.
continue.
May I add something?
Yes.
En nou die voormanne, né, van die plaas,
Ja.
die werkers. Dit het uit die township uitgekom, uit Tambalele uit.
Sê weer die naam?
Timbalise.
Tembatlise.
Thembalihle.
Hulle het geen ondervinding van 'n plaas nie. Nou hulle was die voormanne.
Chairperson, the foreman, the workers, the foreman on the farm came from the township, Tembatlise.
Oh, yes, Thembalihle, yes.
They
That's Thembalihle, Thembalihle.
They had no idea of farming.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, I'm also told, Mr. Besson, that there is a plant that looks like grass, but that's quite poisonous to cattle. It's called tulpa.
Meneer Basson, ek is ook ingelig dat daar 'n plant is. En as jy na die plant kyk, dan lyk dit soos gras. Maar dit is nie en dit is verskriklik giftig vir beeste. Dit word tulpe genoem.
Dit is
I'm
so,
also told that you find it in that area.
En ek is ook ingelig dat jy dit in daardie area kry.
ja, en is altyd groen, so beeste is lief om hom te vat, maar ek het hulle gou genoeg, het ek vir hulle gesê, hulle moet die beeste dadelik charcoal voer. Charcoal, jy weet,
Ja.
dit help daarvoor, en dit het baie gehelp, en nou 'n paar dae van ook gevrek, maar nou nie so vreeslik.
That is correct, and it's always green, so the cattle goes for it. But very quickly I informed them to give the cattle charcoal. There were a few who died because of that, but it went well.
What do you normally do to stop cattle from eating that tulpa? Because it comes out naturally like grass. What's the correct thing to do?
Wat sal jy normaalweg doen om te verhoed dat die beeste daardie tulpe eet, want dit kom uit natuurlik, dit groei
Ja.
natuurlik. So wat is die regte ding om te doen?
Om vir hulle kos te gee, dan sal hulle nie daai goed eet nie.
To give the cattle food, then they won't eat that.
I've told that some farmers actually cordon off those areas to stop the cattle from going to those areas.
Ek is ook ingelig dat sommige van die boere daardie gedeelte waar hierdie tulpe groei afkordon, om sodoende dan te verhoed dat die beeste daar gaan waar dit groei. Is dit so?
Ja, maar jy weet, hulle groei oral tulpe.
Yes, but it grows everywhere, this tulpe.
You said earlier on, as understood, you also advised him to give the cattle charcoal. Is that correct?
Ek het vroeër gehoor en ek het verstaan dat u gesê dat hy vir die beeste charcoal moet gee. Het ek reg gehoor wat u gesê
Dis
het?
reg, is hierdie charcoal waarmee jy vleis brei.
That
Kap
is
het stukkend, gee dit in vir die beeste, of koop by die veearts. Hulle pakkies so terug. En dit help, dis baie goed.
That is correct, Chairperson. It's the charcoal you use to braai. You chop it up in smaller pieces, then you give it to the cattle. Or alternatively, the vet has small packets which you can buy from, and this really helps.
Does this help? Does the charcoal help when cattle had eaten this plant that kills them so that then they don't die? Or does it help to prevent them from wanting to eat this plant?
Hierdie charcoal of die houtskool wat jy van praat, wat vir die beeste gegee word, help dit nadat hulle daardie plant geëet het wat hulle nie eintlik moes nie, of maak hierdie houtskool dat hulle nie daardie plant wil eet nie?
Kyk daai Charcoal kanselleer daai tulp. Die giftigheid vat hy weg, né? Maar hy kan hom nie stop van tulpe eet nie. Al maniere hoe jy dit kan doen is goeie kos vir hulle gooi. Voer, mielies, as dit kry dan. 'n Diere, 'n bees is slim. Hy weet hy moet nie tulp eet nie. Maar sy honger is eet hy.
Chairperson, this charcoal does not prevent the cattle from eating this tulpa. What this does is it cancels out or neutralizes the poison
From this
from
plant?
this tulpa.
Oh, okay.
But cattle is very clever. They know they're not supposed to eat this tulpa, but if they're hungry, then they will eat it. And the only way to avoid the cattle from eating this tulpa is to give them proper feed and mealies or
Yes,
maize, something like
yes,
that.
Yes. And you say you did advise Mr. Prasad that he should give the cattle charcoal in order to deal with this problem of this plant.
En meneer sê, u het vir meneer Prasad gesê dat hy houtskool vir die beeste moet gee om hierdie probleem van die beeste wat die tulpe eet te probeer oplos, omdat hulle doodgaan daarvan.
Dis reg, ek het dit vir hom gesê.
Correct, Chairperson, I informed him.
But was that when the cattle had started dying, or was that long before they started dying?
Hierdie advies wat u vir hom gegee het, is dit lank voor die beeste begin vrek het, of is dit toe hulle alreeds begin vrek het?
Toe hulle begin vrek het die gras gekort geword, dan eet hulle die tulpe.
When they started dying, Chairperson, the grass became shorter. So that is when they started eating the tulpa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. And at your paragraph 18, Mr. Basson, you then say that you procured approximately 1 million rands worth of cattle feed and delivered it to the farm.
En dan as ons kyk na u paragraaf 18, sê u daar vir ons dat u omtrent ongeveer 1 miljoen rand se beeste voer gekry het wat toe afgelaai is.
Ja,
Correct?
dis die waarheid.
That is the truth.
Ek het daarna seker nog 'n miljoen rand se na, miskien nog 'n bietjie meer as 'n miljoen afgelewer soos die tyd gegaan het.
And thereafter, as the time progressed, I delivered about another 1 million rands worth of feed, maybe more.
Yes, and Annexure WB3 is a copy of the invoices you provided to Estina for the feed you procured.
En dan aanhangsel WB03 is 'n afskrif van die faktuur vir die voer wat u verskaf het.
There are a number of invoices there.
Daar is verskeie fakture daar.
Hier is die TLB, né?
If you go to page 1414,
Hierso by WB14.
and you've marked them, voer vir melkkoeie, you've marked all of them.
Dis reg.
Correct?
Did Mr. Prasad know where you even got this food from, this cattle feed from?
Meneer Prasad, het hy ooit geweet waar u hierdie beestevoer vanaf gekry het?
Nee, hy het nie geweet nie. Jy weet, ek het so ver as tot in Middelburg, is 200 km van Vrede af. Gaan voer al. Harry Smit, Kroonstad. En by my op die plaaslike klompie gaan, hy het nie geweet nie.
He did not know from where I obtained this cattle feed. I went as far as Middelburg, which is 200 kilometers from Vrede, Harry Smith, Kroonstad. I even had some which was on my farm.
Two last aspects, Mr. Basson. The first is the guardhouse and the gate where you enter the farm. The cost of that on the documents that the Commission has seen is said to have been in the region of 2.5 million. I'm now looking at your paragraph 21.
As ek kyk na paragraaf 21, hierso is paragraaf 21. Die eerste aspek wat ek met u wil uitklaar is die wagte se huisie, die waghuis en dan ook die hek. Volgens die inligting wat die kommissie voor hulle het, was die koste daarvan ongeveer 2,5 miljoen rand gewees en dit is nou volgens u paragraaf 21, is dit korrek?
Ja, as ek wil sê.
Correct, that is what they say.
What would your estimate have been of the cost of the gates, the guardhouse, and the gravel road entering the farm?
Nou wat sal u
Ek sou
sê is dit gewees van die waghuis, die hek en die grondpad wat daar ingaan? Wat sal u sê was die kostes gewees?
500,000 vir die pad,
Ja.
miskien 600,000 vir die hekke met die sekuriteitkantoor. En wat is die ander ene?
Dit is die waghuis, die hek en die grondpad. So jy sê die hek saam met die waghuisie of die kantoor is 600 omtrent.
Ja. En dan die ander ene?
Die grondpad het jy gesê 500.
Dis reg.
The gravel road I would estimate at about 500,000 rand. The gate together with the guardhouse I would estimate about 600,000 rand. Was there another item?
No, not at all. So the total that you would estimate would be about 1,100,000.
Dit was net hierdie 3 items gewees. So kan ek dan met u bevestig dat u sal sê dat die koste ongeveer 1,1 miljoen was as ons hierdie 2 bedrae dan saamtel.
Ja.
Correct?
I must say this, Mr. Person, and I'm speaking as somebody who doesn't know anything about farming. But even that amount that you give for the gate, that seems to me to be quite excessive for those 2 walls and the gate. Those 2 walls, from what I remember from the slides, appear to be made of maybe bricks, those 2 walls and the gate. Why would that, if I'm correct in my understanding of what those walls are, why should that cost more than 500,000?
Meneer,
On your estimate, let's forget about what they say, on your own estimate.
meneer, u het vir ons gesê dat u skatting van die kostes vir die hek en dan nou die waghuis is ongeveer 600,000 rand. Maar ek vra vir u nou uit die oogpunt van iemand wat nie regtig baie weet hiervan nie, maar as ek reg onthou van die skyfies wat ons gekyk het, is dit 2 mure gewees en dit wil voorkom asof daardie mure van bakstene is en dan die hek. So, hoekom is dit op u eie skatting van die kostes, as ons nou vergeet wat hulle gesê, op u skatting van 600,000, hoekom sal dit meer as 500,000 kos? Hierdie bedrag is nog steeds, wat dit vir my baie uitermatig klink.
Kyk, dis facebricks, né?
Ja,
Dis baie duur stene.
ja,
En die hek hardloop op 'n ruil, met 'n elektriese motor.
ja,
En dan die 2 pilare,
ja,
het ek al die huisie genoem.
nee nog nie,
En dan die sekuriteitshuis.
ja. Chairperson, the wall is face bricks and it's a very expensive type of brick. The gate runs on a rail and it works with an electric motor. And then you also have the security house or the guardhouse.
Kan ek nog iets sê?
May I add something?
Yes.
Ja.
Daar's so dik elektriese kabel kom van die kantore af waar die hoofkrag is.
Ja.
So kabel is baie duur. Dit begrawe word dan nog deur. En daai motor is al gesteel.
Ja.
Maar die kabel lê daar. Dis as jy alles bymekaar tel is. Dit is duur, maar dit is nie way out nie, jy weet.
Kan jy net vir my weer wys hoe dik is die kabel?
Trend so. Want die distansie is lank, dit moet 'n dik kabel wees.
Okay.
Sê maar 19 mm.
19.
Een bietjie te.
The witness demonstrated holding his fingertips of the thumb and the index finger together that this is the thickness of a cable. It's about 19 millimeters, maybe a bit thicker. That cable comes from the office where the main power supply is. It runs from there to the gate. And then the electric motor, it has been stolen in the past. But that is how it works. And it is very expensive, but it's not that much, but it is expensive. This type of cable you have to have. It's an expensive type of cable, but you do have to have it.
So, would you say your estimate of 600,000 rand or so for the gate and the guardhouse is a well-informed estimate? It's based on your knowledge of these things on the farms in the area.
Meneer, u skatting wat u gegee het van 600,000 vir die hek en aan die waghuis. Sal u sê dat hierdie skatting wat u gegee het, dat dit 'n behoorlike skatting is, dat dit uit u kennis is van hierdie waghuis en hekke wat opgerig word waar u nou daar in die area is? Sal u sê dat dit 'n korrekte bedrag is?
Ja, is duur. Ek moet erken, dit is duur, né? Maar ons masjinerie kos nie 100,000 rand, kos miljoene. Daai goed moet betaal wees, so ons moet geld maak, né?
Correct, Chairperson. I will admit that it's expensive, but our equipment or machinery, it's not just 100,000 rand, it's millions. So we have to make money.
Yeah, it does sound very excessive to me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Besson, did you build the gatehouse, the walls, the gate, or did somebody else build it?
Somebody else. Yeah, because they asked 2.5 million for the gate and the road. Nah, skiep nog. Ek raak. Sy kop gewonder raak en ek al Engels praat.
If I get excited, I can speak
At least,
English.
Mr. Person, we were told that you understand English. So if we hadn't been told, we would be wondering. Okay, yes.
Okay, that works.
So you say, well, first you say you didn't build it, somebody else built it. Do you know who that somebody else is who built it?
No.
Jy het vir ons gesê, jy het nie hierdie hek met die mure en die huis
pad.
gebou nie. Jy sê iemand anders het dit gedoen.
Ja.
Weet u wie dit is wat dit gebou het?
Jong, ek is nie seker nie. As stories dat dit een ou op vrede is, dan is dit stories dat dit ouens op Nelspruit het. Kyk, toe ek daar kom, toe sê ek klaar gebou.
Ja.
En hulle die mense het laat gaan, hulle het gesê hulle is way out dier, dit was CP.
CP. Okay. I am not really sure. There are stories that it's people from Vrede, then there are stories that it's people from Nelspruit. But when I arrived there, the gate was already done. And the people were already let go where they were, my apologies, may I just confirm
Yeah.
something? Kan ek net bevestig, wat het jy gesê van CP? Jy het gesê die mense is reeds laat gaan en toe die CP se naam genoem?
Ja, want kyk, toe het hulle al reeds laat gaan, hulle gestop. Toe het hy my gekry, want hy het gesê hulle is te duur.
Hy het hulle gestop.
Ja.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Maar toe hulle nou klaar was, het hy verder vir hulle werk gegee.
Okay.
Nog iets wat ek kan sê van daai pad.
Ja,
Die G5 is so dik opgevolg.
Diep D5,
G5's gravel.
G5 gravel.
Dit is hoe ek op daai prys van wat 500 uitkom, né?
Ja. Okay.
Baie vragte, dis kompaksie en is
Thank you, Chairperson. When I arrived there, the gate was already done and CP had already let the people who did that job, he let them go. So he did not give them any additional or further work. What I also would like to add is that road, the G5 gravel, was this thick, and the witness demonstrated with his hand just a bit higher than the table. So it was a lot of deliveries and compacting.
Is that from that measurement, is that from the floor or from the top of the table?
Hierdie hoogte wat u gewys het, is dit nou van die grond af of van die tafel af? Want u het hom so
van
bietjie
die grond af, want ons het 'n klomp soveel uitgehaal. Klei en swart grond, goed, jy weet, ons so nie kry krake.
Okay.
Dis weggegooi en ons het die ouens nuwe grys aangery.
This measurement is from the floor, Chairperson, because we dug out about this much. This was clay, black soil that was disposed of, and then we put in the gravel. Otherwise, if you do not do that, you get cracks.
Would that measurement be about a ruler?
Hierdie afmeting wat u gegee het
Ons
wat uitgehaal het, is dit omtrent
Or
as
how
a
many
mens
centimeters?
liniaal in gedagte hou, so 30 centimeter.
Dieper is dit.
Would it be about a meter?
Excuse?
Would it be about a meter?
Yeah.
Because from the ground to about there is about a
Yeah.
meter. A meter, meter and a half.
They take the black soil and the clay out, and then they put gravel. Or else you get potholes in a week.
It's more than the size of a ruler. I would confirm and agree about a meter, meter and a half, because you take out the black soil as well as the clay, else you would get cracks and potholes.
Okay.
When you gave the evidence earlier, you said we take out and then we. Does that mean that you assisted in the building of that road?
No, nee,
No?
sorry.
Yes, that helps. It clarifies the matter. The last item, Mr. Besson, relates to the newspaper article or the newspaper interview, rather, that you gave to one of the newspapers. It's annexed to your papers, but the copy that's here is a very poor copy. So, Chairman, can we refer you to media bundle, to the media bundle and page 26 of the media bundle?
Yes, thank you.
Exactly the same story, just another source, but
Okay.
literally word for word, the paragraphs that we wish to rely on.
Okay.
Could I perhaps just have the page again?
It's page 26 of the media bundle. And it's the last 3 paragraphs of that, and the first 2 of page 27. Chairman, if I might just read these to Mr. Besson.
Ek gaan hier nou verwys na die media bundel, die artikel met
Yes.
van die onderhoud wat u gevoer het met een van die koerante. Daar is 'n afskrif daarvan of 'n kopie daarvan in u bundel by u hierdie lertjie voor u, maar dit is baie onduidelik. So ons gaan nou hier na die media bundel toe en dit is die laaste 3 paragrawe op bladsy 26, sowel as die eerste 2 paragrawe op bladsy 27 en die advokaat gaan dan voortgaan om dit vir u uit te lees.
In fact, I'll start with the second last paragraph that reads as follows. In the end, a project meant to empower black farmers like Mr. Dlamini further enriched the Guptas and one of the wealthiest white men in Vrede, Willie Besson, with a fleet of vehicles, construction equipment, and billboards advertising his business all over town. Mr. Besson is the main government contractor in Vrede and helped build the dairy farm. But he said that Estina mismanaged the business so badly that he ended up having to dig graves for as many as 100 cows, even though he had delivered feed for them. And then I quote, "They just do projects like this to get money," close quotes, he said in an interview in his office. Open quotes, "That's how they operate. But luckily, they paid me every cent," close quotes, Mr. Besson said. Open quotes, "Hey, it's rotten in this place here," close quotes, he exclaimed, pounding on the table in front of him. Open quotes, "And we work with all of them, so we know," close quotes. I don't know if you just want to summarize that or read it to the witness in Afrikaans.
Meneer, so as ons nou gaan na die tweede laaste paragraaf toe op bladsy 26 van die media bundel, sê dit, as ek 'n opsomming vir u kan gee, dit sê dat hierdie projek moes gewees het om swart boere soos meneer Dlamini hom op te bou. Maar dit het, al wat dit gedoen het, is dat dit die Gupta's ryker gemaak het en een van die rykste wit mans in Vrede, meneer Willie Basson, met 'n vloot van voertuie, konstruksietoerusting en advertensieborde wat u besigheid oral in die dorp adverteer het en dat u die hoof gouvernmentkontrakteur in Vrede is en dat u ook gehelp het om die melkplaas te bou. Dan sê dit verder, maar u het gesê dat Estina die besig so sleg bestuur het, dat wat gebeur het, dat u opgeëindig het om grafte te grou vir soveel as 100 beeste, alhoewel u voer vir die beeste afgelewer het. En dan sê dit, en dit is 'n direkte, dit is wat u gesê het, direk vir die koerant, hulle doen net projekte soos hierdie om geld te kry. Dit is hoe hulle besigheid doen, maar gelukkig het hulle my elke sent betaal. Dan sê hy verder, "Hy, dis vrot in hierdie plek hier, en ons werk saam met hulle so ons ken, so ons weet." En terwyl u dit gesê het, maak die koerant ook 'n opmerking wat sê dat u op die tafel geslaan het.
Do you recall giving this
Ja.
interview?
Kan u onthou dat u hierdie onderhoud gegee het?
Ja, dit
Correct?
was vir die New York Times, dink ek.
If I recall correctly, it was for the New York Times.
You recall correctly, Mr. Besson.
U onthou
Okay,
korrek.
laat ek julle vertel, ek net gou sê, daai ding wat ek net gesê het, we take out so, ons vat soveel grond uit.
Ja,
Dis al die paaie in Vrede.
al die paaie.
Ja, dis om ek sê, we, jy weet ons.
Okay.
Okay, dis nou verby.
That is correct. I would just like to add something to my earlier testimony where I said that we take out this much. When I say that, I'm referring to all the roads in Vrede. That is why I said we.
Thank you for clarifying that evidence that you gave us.
Nou kan ek vir jou sê waaroor daai goed gaan. Kyk,
Ja.
as ek die voer vandag aflewer,
Ja.
daai beeste die môre gesond nie. Hulle moet eers die voer eet, dan verteer, en party is klaar dood, jy weet. En dis hoekom ek gesê het, daai plaas is orgie, as jy ongery kom daar, dan staan die trekkers so, miljoene rande trekkers. Papwiele, bonnets oopgestrip, die implemente stuk en ingebreek. Hulle het dooie beeste, kalvers. Ag, hulle teen 'n hang, teen 'n bult, het hulle 'n nuwe land gemaak. Nou die eerste by reënweek kry jy al daai grond weg. Kan nie 'n land rip en ploeg teen 'n bult nie, jy weet. Dus kom ek sê, alles
Okay.
is 'n flop.
Now I can continue to explain to you about this. If I deliver feed today, the cattle is not going to be healthy tomorrow. They first have to eat the feed, they have to digest it. Some of the cattle were already dead. If you drive into that farm, and that is the reason why I said that it's a complete mess. When you drive into that farm, you would see tractors, which is worth millions of rands. It's standing skew, the tires are flat, the bonnets are open, it's stripped, implements which is broken, and then against the slope, they created a new piece of land where they wanted to plant. Now with the first rain, all that soil will come down. You cannot plow and plant against a slope.
Yes. So you confirm that you are the main government contractor in Vrede?
So, u stem saam dat u die hoof staats- of goewerment kontrakteur is in Vrede.
Nee, dis nie die regte woord nie. Ek is vir die munisipaliteite. Ek is nou weer 3 jaar kontrak gegee, service provider. Maar die munisipaliteite val onder die staat.
No, that is not correct. I'm a contractor for the municipality. I received or I got a 3-year contract now again, but the municipality falls below or under the government.
Do you specifically get work from the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development?
Kry u spesifiek werk vanaf die Departement van Landbou en Landelike of Stedelike Ontwikkeling?
Ja, ek het al gekry en ek het nou, soos ek gesê het, die trekkers en implemente wat in my werkswinkel staan.
Correct.
Dis ons agriculture, dis die provinsie, jy weet dit, die government.
Correct. I have received work from them. As I mentioned, the tractors and the implements which is with me, which has to be repaired, that is the Department of Agriculture from the province.
As ek iets net kan inlas.
May I also add something else?
Yes.
Yes.
Ja, meneer?
Okay, ek het nou 3 jaar service provider
Ja.
kontrak by hulle ook gekry. Hulle is ons die regering.
I got a 3-year service provider contract from them, and they are the government.
Who is them? Which part of government?
As u sê hulle, watter gedeelte van die goewerment is hulle?
Agriculture.
Agriculture.
Well, also I wanted to say, Mr. Person, a municipality is part of government as well.
Ons wil net
You
voor-
understand
Ja,
that?
dis korrek.
Ons wil net vir u sê dat die munisipaliteit is ook deel van die staat.
Ja.
Correct?
Kyk, ek werk vir baie munisipaliteite. Sekunda, Governor-Bekie, al daai dorpe.
I work
Mafube, Frankfurt,
Mafube.
Thembalihle, Warden, Memel en Vrede.
I do work for many municipalities. Secunda, Governor Mbeki, Mafube, in... Waar is Mafube, meneer?
Frankfurt.
In Frankfurt.
Frankfurt, Tweeling, Cornelia.
Tweeling, Cornelia, Thembalihle, Warden, Vrede.
Kyk, Governor-Bekie net baie dorpe waar ek werk.
Governor Mbeki has got many towns where I work.
Well, Mr. Person, the reason why I thought I should tell you that a municipality is part of government is because when council said to you, asked you whether you were admitting that you are the main government contractor, you said no. And your answer suggested that you were excluding municipality from government. But if you include municipalities, just from what you have said, it looks like you get a lot of work from government.
Meneer,
Ek sê baie jammer, dit lyk my verkeerd verstaan.
Chairperson, the witness would like me to inform you that he's very sorry and that he understood the question incorrectly.
Oh, okay. What answer would you like to give to that question now that you understand it correctly?
Nou dat u korrek verstaan en wat die vraag was, watse antwoord sal u dan nou gee tot daardie vraag, meneer?
Ja, dan is ek government.
Then I,
Soos die regter nou gesê het, jy weet, die munisipaliteite is government, dan is ek
then I am the main government contractor. As Chairperson said that the municipality is part of government, then I am.
Okay, thank you.
When did you first start getting government work? And again, I'm keeping it very broad, generally.
Meneer, ek wil graag by u weet en ek hou dit in die algemeen, baie breedvoerig. Wanneer is die eerste keer wat u begin werk kry het van die staat of die regering?
And I'm talking post-1994 here.
En ek verwys nou spesifiek na 1994. Wanneer was die eerste keer wat u werk van die staat af begin kry het?
Ag, dit was in 1994 so, of net daarna, ek weet nie, want jy sien, baie van die mense, doen aansoek vir die kontrakte. Dan het hy nie eens 'n graaf op sy naam. Jy weet, en ek het nou 'n redelike goeie naam met al die toerusting wat ons het. Dis ook wel, ek kan nie sonder ons klaarkom nie. En die groot ding is, jy wag tot 6 maande en 'n jaar vir jou geld.
Ja.
En min ouens kan dit hanteer.
Chairperson, this was during 1994 or just thereafter. You see people apply or tender for work, but then they do not even have a spade on their name. And I have quite a good or well-established name. You need equipment, etc. And another thing is you wait about 6 months to a year for your money, and many people cannot take or handle that.
Okay, thank you.
You see, the reason I ask Mr. Basson is when I look at this particular paragraph that speaks about you being the main government contractor, it is put in a paragraph where the word empowerment is used and where the empowerment of black people is an issue. So I just want to understand whether what is being communicated here is that rather than having black farmers grow and develop, what has happened is that people with resources, are, like yourself, are the only ones who've been able to develop further and grow. Is that your understanding of what's written here?
Meneer, die rede hoekom ek dit vra, is hierdie wat ons gesê dat u die hoofgouvernment of staatskontrakteur is. Dit word genoem in die paragraaf saam met die volgende woorde, empower black farmers, waar swart boere opgebou moet word. En verstaan ek dan reg hierdie paragraaf en verstaan u dit ook dan so, dat waar swart boere opgebou moes word, dat hulle kan ontwikkel en groei, het dit nie gebeur nie, maar liewer mense soos u, wat alreeds die hulpbronne het, dat u net verder gegroei het, maar nie die swart boere wat hulle hiervan praat nie.
Kyk, hoekom ons sê die swart boere, ek het 3 plase
Ja,
in die staat verkoop.
ja,
Vol beeste, vol trekkers,
ja.
alles. 2 jaar dan, maar toe gee hulle niks verder nie.
Ja,
Jy het baie kapitaal nodig om aan te gaan. Toe gee hulle niks verder nie. Maar as gevolg daarvan het hulle sommer beeste in die veld, want dit is baie naby in die township. Het hulle beeste sommer in die veld begin slag, stukke vleis uitgehaal.
okay.
En ek wil nie eens vir jou sê wat alles daar gebeur het nie. Hulle steel tot die bolwels is koper en verkoop het verskrel met metal wat die beeste moet water drink vir die krippe.
Okay.
En hulle het dit gesteel. Ek meen jy moet nou sien hoe hulle gelyk hy plase toe ek hulle gehad het, jy moet hulle nou sien.
Okay.
Kyk, as jy 'n plaas kry, die geld ook kry, nou hulle kry net plase. You can do nothing with a farm if you haven't got capital.
Okay.
Kapitaal het.
Okay. Chairperson, what happened was 3 farms I sold to the government. This farms had cattle on it, tractors, implements, but thereafter they were only given the farms. They were not given financial assistance or capital. What happened was, due to them not receiving any further financial assistance, they went into the veld, close to the township, and they slaughtered the cattle there in the veld, taking out pieces of meat. What they also did is, at the crypts where the cattle had to drink from, they stole the ball valves, which is copper, so they sold it for scrap metal. You cannot do anything without capital if you get a farm. You have to have finances.
Dus ek nog iets kan byvoeg.
If I may add something else,
Yes.
Ja. Ja, ek dink dit het my nou ontgaan.
I think I forgot what I wanted to say.
Okay. I'm not sure whether your answer was an answer to the question, but Mr. Bashir will know whether that answer is an answer to a question.
I just remembered what I wanted to say.
Yes.
Nee. Hulle het die beeste verkoop
Ja,
en die trekkers verkoop.
ja.
Wat hulle by die government gekry het. Ek weet nie of hulle die geld vir die plaas wou gehad het of hulle self. Maar dis wat daar gebeur het. Ek het 100 witbraamane stoet gehad.
Ja.
Is gone. Nou praat ek nie van die ander beeste nie.
Chairperson, what they also did is they sold the cattle and they sold the tractors that they received from the government. I do not know if they wanted the money for themselves or if they wanted the money for the farms. I cannot say. But I had 100 white Brahman cattle, and that is not even talking about the other cattle that I had. But this Brahman cattle, they're gone.
The Brahman cattle were on the farms that you sold, and they were sold together with the farms to go to the government. Is that what you say?
Hierdie Brahman beeste wat u van praat wat u gehad het, hierdie 100, is dit wat op die plase was, wat u verkoop het aan die
plaas.
saam met die plaas?
Saam met die plaas, ja. Aan die regering.
Correct, Chairperson. This was sold together with the farm to the government.
Thank you.
It wasn't quite an answer to my question, but what you've just told the chairman is interesting in this respect. It's important to then ask you, you sold 3 farms to the government, you say. The government being the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. I don't know, I'm asking.
Meneer, dit wat u geantwoord het was nie regtig 'n antwoord op my vraag gewees nie, maar wat ek hier nou wil vra is, u het gesê dat u 3 plase verkoop het aan die regering of die staat. Nou hierdie staat wat u van praat waar die plase verkoop het, is dit die Departement van Landbou en Stedelike Ontwikkeling? Ek weet nie, u moet vir my sê, verstaan ek dit reg? Is dit aan hulle wat u dit verkoop het? Correct.
And the people you sold this to were based in Vrede or in the provincial office in Bloemfontein?
En hierdie mense wat u dit aan verkoop het, was hulle gevestig in Vrede of was dit die provinsiale mense gewees van Bloemfontein.
Bloemfontein en Bethlehem, né? Maar die ou vir wie hulle die plaas gegee het, was 'n dokter in Bethlehem.
Bloemfontein and Bethlehem, but the person they gave the farm to was
Die 3 farms.
the 3
3
farms
plase, ja.
they gave to was a doctor
Bethlehem.
in
Medi-
Bethlehem.
Mediese dokter in Bethlehem.
It was a medical doctor in Bethlehem.
En hy het Sondag, net so vir 'n uur raak om deurry.
And on a Sunday, he would drive through there just for an hour,
Then he's gone.
and then he would be gone.
So all 3 farms were sold to one person, and that person happened to be a medical doctor
Ja.
who lived in Bethlehem.
So al 3 hierdie plase was aan een persoon verkoop, en dit was 'n dokter gewees, 'n mediese dokter in Bethlehem. Correct.
En hy het niks van boerdery geweet.
He did not know anything about farming.
You see, the reason this is important is because what the chairman may wish to do is give recommendations on how transactions like that should be monitored, how the use of government farms, or once government has a farm, how they should ensure that the people they give the farm to use it to develop themselves and their community.
Die rede hoekom hierdie belangrik is, meneer, is omdat die voorsitter aanbevelings kan maak of mag maak met betrekking tot transaksies soos hierdie, waar plase gegee word aan iemand of verkoop word aan 'n persoon, sodat daardie persone wat die plase kry, dan dit behoorlik bestuur en behoorlik groei en ontwikkel.
Ja, ek sou sê hulle moet opgehou word. Jy weet, ek wil daai trekkers verkoop. Hulle het van die beeste verkoop. Hy het nie 'n pitmielies geplant nie.
Chairperson, I would say that they should be checked on, they should be monitored, because they sold the tractors, they sold the cattle. He did not plant one piece of maize or mealie.
So I've understood you to give the chairman 2 pieces of advice on this aspect. The first is financial support from government to emerging farmers. I presume extension services support, because you said they need to be helped in relation to what government provides. So extension services support to farmers, emerging farmers. But thirdly, you're saying government must be very selective about who they sell farms to once they have acquired them.
So verstaan ek hier dan reg as ek sê dat die advies of die aanbeveling wat u sê die voorsitter moet maak, is dat wanneer daar plase gegee word of verkoop word deur die staat, moet daar finansiële ondersteuning of finansiële hulp aangebied word, dat daar ook addisionele hulp en ondersteuning gegee moet word, en dan moet die staat ook baie selektief wees vir wie hulle hierdie plase gee. Is dit wat u sê, meneer?
Ja.
Correct?
But coming back to the original question, you would not dispute the observation in this newspaper on page 26 that from what this particular journalist took away, having interviewed you or talked to various people, emerging black farmers are not doing well at all, but those with resources, those farmers with resources, appear to be the ones who are getting a better life from the changed political circumstances in this country.
Meneer, so as ons nou terugkom na die oorspronklike vraag wat ek vir u gevra het, en as ons nou kyk weer na die tweede laaste paragraaf van bladsy 26 van die media bundle, dit sê daar dat opkomende swart boere, dat hulle nie groei nie, hulle ontwikkel nie, maar dat die mense wat wel verder groei en ontwikkel, is die mense of die boere wat alreeds al die hulpbronne het. En dit is, verstaan u dit, dat dit is wat die verslaggewer uitgekry het uit die onderhoud wat hy of sy met u gedoen het, sowel as met ander mense. Verstaan u dit ook so?
Ja. Maar kyk, daar's niks verkeerd met swart boere nie, né?
Ja.
Daar sit een dokter wat baie groot en goed boer en goed. Maar dan kry daai ouens 'n plaas. Hy het nie eens geld om so daar kos te koop nie. Dan begin die beeste ook vrek.
Ja.
Hy het nie geld om 'n veearts te vat nie.
Ja.
Nou wat gebeur? Hy moet beeste verkoop. Hy moet trekkers koop en geld. Hulle sal iemand moet aansit om hulle te monitor, jy weet.
Okay.
Kyk laat hulle ekstra geld by die plaas kry. Dis hoe ek dit sien. Niks, ek het niks daarby bedoel dat daar fout is met swart mense, jy weet.
Yes, but I would just like to say that I meant nothing with it to say that there's something wrong with black farmers. There's nothing wrong. There is one sitting there, doctor. He's a great farmer with a big farm. But then you get people who receive the farm. They do not have any finances or money to buy food. They cannot take the animals to the vet. So what do? They have to sell the tractors or cattle, or the cattle die. So I would just say that they have to receive extra financial assistance in order for them to be successful, and somebody needs to be appointed or put over them to monitor them.
Yes, no, your evidence is very clear on that aspect, Mr. Besson. Then over the page at page 27 of the same media article, just explain those comments to the chairman. They just do projects like this to get money. And then the second one, hey, it's rotten in this place here. Just give the chairman a sense of what you were referring to when you made these two comments on page 27.
Meneer, hier op bladsy 27 is daar twee sinne daar, dis kommentaar wat u gemaak het, en ek wil hê u moet vir die voorsitter verduidelik wat het u bedoel en waarna of na wie het u verwys toe u gesê het, hulle doen net projekte soos die om geld te kry. En die tweede kommentaar, hi, dis vrot in hierdie plek hier. Wat het u bedoel?
Dis die melkplaas, né?
Ja?
Julle weet seker van die goetas vir die troue in Sun City gehou het.
This is the dairy farm, and you probably know about the Guptas having the wedding in Sun City.
Daai
Yes.
geld kom van die melkplaas af.
That money comes from the dairy farm.
But how do you know this, Mr. Besson?
Hoe weet u dit, meneer?
Hoe kan ek dit vir jou sê? Ek het baie insaam, baie dinge. En ek ken baie mense, jy weet. En hulle het my vertel, en dis die mense wat so stories gepraat het.
How can I put it? I have insight into many things, and I know many people, and they told me that, and it's people that would not lie to me.
The difficulty the chairman would have is he needs evidence, objective facts, and evidence. So maybe at best one can only say if you could find the time to, if not today, at least to prepare something for the chairman to understand who you might have gotten that information from, because it fits into part of what this commission was set up to do.
Meneer, die probleem wat hierdie kommissie of die voorsitter het, is die kommissie benodig bewyse en objektiewe feite. So, indien dit moontlik is vir u, al is dit nie vandag nie, maar sodra u kan, sodat u iets voor kan berei vir die voorsitter om insaag te hê en om te sê byvoorbeeld, maar u het met die persoon gepraat wat u ingelig het.
Ek sal dit vir hom kry.
I would,
Ek weet nie of ek op TV nou mag name noem nie. Ek kan nou vir jou sê wie dit is.
I will obtain same chairperson, but I do not know if I'm allowed to mention names on television because I am able to mention or give the commission the names now.
Well, maybe if that information hadn't been given to the legal team, it should first be given to them and before it's made known here on television.
Meneer, indien daardie inligting nog nie aan die regspan gegee is nie, sal dit dalk beter wees dat u eers daardie inligting vir die regspan gee voordat dit bekend gemaak word op televisie.
Ja, en wat ek kan sê, 2 van die lede wat hy geld geskep het vir die Guptas, sit in die parlement.
What I can say is 2 of those members who took the money for the Guptas, they sit in parliament.
Oh, that's important. So do give that information to the legal team, give the names, and whatever else you wanted to say, that will enable them to assess the information, and before it's made known here they would make sure that those who may be implicated are notified.
Meneer, so wat u dan moet doen is daardie name en enige ander inligting wat u dalk vir die kommissie vir die voorsitter wou gee met betrekking tot dit, gaan u eers vir die regspan gee sodat daardie persone wat moontlik geïmpliseer word hierin dat hulle eers in kennis gestel word. So u gaan nie nou vir ons dit gee nie, u gaan eers met die regspan praat.
Want daar was nog baie lelike dinge. Daar kan julle nog iets sê. Daar was om by 500 miljoen gegee vir daai projek. Daar is nie meer as 200 miljoen spandeer nie. Waar is die ander 300? Gone.
Something else which I can add, Chairperson, is there were horrible things which happened there. About 500 million rand was given for that project, and no more than 200 million was spent or used for the project. So where did the other remaining 300 million go?
Yes. No, thank you. Any other information that you may not have told the legal team, which you think is important, maybe you had forgotten it or whatever, give it to them and they'll prepare a supplementary statement by you. And if need be, you can be asked to come back after the relevant notices have been given to whoever may be implicated by the further evidence.
Meneer, enige inligting wat u nog nie vir die regspan gegee het nie, of as daar enigiets is waarvan u vergeet het, wat u nou onthou het, kan u vir die regspan gee, dan sal die regspan deur dit gaan. Daar sal ondersteunende verklaringe opgestel word deur u, en indien dit nodig is, sal u weer herroep word na die kommissie toe, nadat die relevante mense wat moontlik geïmpliseer word dan behoorlik in kennis gestel is. So al daardie inligting kan u vir die regspan dan gee.
Dis reg, ek sal dit doen, dit gaan 'n tydjie vat, maar
Understood, but it would take some time.
Oh, why would it take some time?
Hoekom sê u dat dit 'n tydjie gaan neem?
ek meen dis nie 'n ding van môre nie, jy weet. Ek moet sekere ouens sien en ek moet seker op skrif kry.
A chairperson, it's because it's not just a thing of tomorrow already. There's certain people I have to see and I probably have to get things in writing.
Yes, no, that I understand. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Die voorsitter verstaan dit en dis aanvaarbaar, meneer.
Dankie.
Chairman,
Thank you.
just to indicate to Mr. Basson that we have the facilities to take that additional statement now, have
Yes.
him depose to it, sign it now,
Yes.
and then we can work with the Rule 33 notices
Yes.
that may have to go out. Because
Yes.
I'm assuming it's not a lengthy statement,
Yes.
it's a very short
Yes.
statement that he would be making.
Yes. Do you want to translate that?
Please, Chairperson. Meneer Basson, die regspan wil u ook net in kennis stel dat hier behoorlike fasiliteite is om daardie addisionele of ondersteunende verklaring van u af te neem, want ons verneem dit sal nie 'n verskriklike lang verklaring wees nie, maar die fasiliteite is beskikbaar om dit vandag nog te doen en dan sal die regspan voortgaan op 'n latere stadium na dit gedoen is om die reël 33 kennisgewings uit te stuur na die relevante persone toe.
So, ek verstaan dit heeltemal, maar ek moet net met sekere ouens praat om dit te kry. Want ek weet een van die ouens in die parlement het gevlug vir die polisie.
Ja.
Nou is hy weer terug in die parlement. En dis as gevolg van die melkplaas, geld wat daar weg is.
I completely understand that, Chairperson, but there are certain people that I have to speak to first. I mean, if you look at the people in Parliament, they fled for the police and now they are back in Parliament. And that is due to this dairy farm debacle.
No, that's fine. I think what Mr. Bashe wanted you to know is that from their side, if you are ready to give them the information and make a statement, they are ready. But if you need to talk to some people in order to get all the information before you make another statement to them, that is fine as well. She just wanted you to know that from their side, they are ready.
Ons verstaan dit, meneer. Ek dink wat die advokaat net wou oordra aan u is, sodra u reg is, die fasiliteite is hier en dit is beskikbaar vir u om dan daardie aanvullende of addisionele verklaring te maak. Maar indien, soos u sê, dat daar eers ander mense is wat u mee wil praat en die inligting kry, is dit in orde so, maar u moet net weet, sodra u reg is die fasiliteite beskikbaar vir u sodat dit gedoen kan word.
Ek kan weer opkom of hulle kan vrede toe kom, ek wil net my storie 100% reg kry, jy weet.
Okay.
Ek kan nou vir jou 'n naam gee. Net nou kan ek dit nie bewys nie.
Ja.
Maar ons sal my skiet. Jy weet.
Chairperson, I just have to get my story or my facts in order. They can either come to Vrede or I can come here again. I can give you a name right now, but I don't have evidence right now. They would shoot me.
Okay, no, no, that's fine. Thank you for that, Mr. Passon. I just want to also encourage you that if you do know people who may have benefited illegally or corruptly from this Vrede Dairy Farm project, I encourage you to get that information and the evidence and the names of those people. Give that to the commission.
Yeah.
So you will collect information and you will be in touch with the commission, and the commission will be happy to get that information, because it's important that if there are people who know people who may have benefited illegally out of this, that the commission should know who those people are and should investigate that issue further.
Meneer die voorsitter wil u verder net aanmoedig en vra dat indien u weet van enige iemand wat op 'n wederregtelike manier voordeel getrek het uit hierdie melkplaas uit of op 'n korrupte manier, dat u dit aan die regspan daardie inligting bekend sal maak, kry daardie inligting bymekaar en gee dit vir die regspan sodat hulle daardeur kan gaan en dit ook kan ondersoek, want as iemand van iemand weet wat voordeel wederregtelik daar uitgetrek het, moet ons dit ondersoek. So die voorsitter vra vir u, indien u enige inligting daaromtrent het, dat dit ook verskaf word. Is dit reg so?
Stootreg, en kyk wat ek net nou gesê het. Die Gupta se troue geld het mos hier geland op ding. En 'n Sun City troue geld, daai geld kom definitief van die melkplaas af.
Understood, Chairperson. And what I said earlier about the Guptas and the wedding here in Sun City, that money or that funds definitely came from the dairy farm.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Just one or two last questions. Do you continue to do work for the dairy farm?
Meneer, daar is net 2 of 3 ander aspekte of vrae wat ons vir u wil vra. Gaan u nou voort om steeds werk te doen vir die melkplaas of melkboerdery?
Soos ek gesê het, hulle het my nou 'n kontrak gegee, service provider vir 3 jaar. Daar staan nou trekkers in my werkswinkel en bakkies en ons doen elke dag werk vir hulle.
That is correct. As I mentioned earlier, they gave me a 3-year service provider contract. Currently, I have tractors and bakkies, which is with me, which I have to work on. It's daily I do work.
Next question. The milk that is produced at the farm, I'm assuming the farm has been producing milk. Do you know where that milk is sold?
Meneer, die melk wat produseer word op die plaas, en ek verneem dat die plaas op die stadium wel melk produseer. Weet u by wie of waaraan word daardie melk verkoop?
Jong, ek weet nie, maar ek weet die laaste klomp het ergens met toe gegaan, maar ek weet nie aan wie se dit gelewer nie.
I do not know. I know a lot of it went, or a bunch of it went to Harry Smith, but I do not know to whom it was sold to.
There have also been allegations that cattle have been stolen and or have disappeared from the farm. Do you know anything at all about that?
Daar is ook beweringe dat vee of beeste gesteel is vanaf die plaas of weggeraak het vanaf die plaas. Weet u enigiets
Ek het
daarvan?
daai stories gehoor.
I heard
Al
this.
wat ek sê, ek kan nie bewys wie dit gevat nie, maar ek het die stories daar gehoor dat hulle lei die beeste en ry dit weg.
I heard the stories there that they load the cattle and drive away with it. I heard the stories, but I have no proof or evidence who took it.
So they load the cattle, they bring a vehicle onto the farm, load the cattle into the vehicle and drive off with the cattle.
So sê u dat hulle 'n voertuig bring tot op die plaas, hulle laai die beeste en dan is hulle daar weg met hulle. Net
Ja,
hardop antwoord.
ja.
Correct?
So that security gate is completely ineffectual.
So daardie sekuriteitshek wat daar is, hy is glad nie effektief nie. Hy werk nie omdat hulle die voertuig tot op die plaas bring en die beeste laai.
Nee, die hek werk,
Ja.
maar die sekuriteit en die ou by die beeste lei werk saam.
The gate is in working order, Chairperson, but the security and the person who loads the cattle, they work together.
Last question. We have heard at this commission about tensions and threats to people from the Thembalihle community. One, do you know anything about people who've either been threatened, intimidated, killed because of the farm? Or have you personally been threatened because of your association with the farm?
Chairperson, may I break up the question?
Oh, yes, please repeat.
So the first leg of the question is, so the first one is, there has been evidence before the commission of threats, intimidation against people who live in the Thembalihle township, largely because of this farm, Estina farm.
Meneer, een laaste vraag wat die kommissie vir u wil vra. Daar is beweringe dat daar spanning en dreigemente teenoor mense wat daar in die area in Thembalihle is, van mense wat geïntimideer is, mense wat doodgemaak is, en dit is grootliks oor hierdie melkplaas. Verstaan jy die vraag?
Verstaan dit?
Understood?
Do you know anything about those threats, about those deaths, about that intimidation against other people?
Daardie dreigemente, die intimidasie en mense wat moontlik doodgemaak is, weet u daarvan of het hy draai kennis daarvan van dit wat teenoor ander mense gebeur het?
Hulle het vir my die volgende dag gesê dat hy ou is vermoor op die Wildsplaas. Ek weet nie wie sy nie, ek dink dokter sal weet. Maar hulle het nooit 'n threat teen my, nooit.
They informed me the following day of that man who was killed on the game farm. I do not know his name. I think doctor would know his name. But they never made threats towards me, never.
Would that be Mr. Philemon Ngwenya?
Sal dit,
Possibly.
Ja.
kan dit moontlik meneer Philemon Ngwenya wees? Yes?
But you personally have not had a difficulty
Maar
with this?
u persoonlik het nog nooit probleme met dit gehad nie.
Niks.
Niks teenoor u wat gebeur het nie.
Ek dink amper dokter het probleme gehad, dat hulle hom gedreig het en hom wou doodmaak of goed, jy weet. Maar ek nie.
Personally, towards myself, I have never had any problems, but I think doctor had problems where he was threatened and intimidated to be killed.
Kyk, is daar iets is wat ek kan sê, ek kan net kom vra.
If I may add something, Chairperson.
Yes.
Ja, meneer?
Hulle sal my nie sommer dreig nie.
Ja.
Ek is baie goed vir die mense in die township.
Ja.
Jy weet hierdie met nou lammes en goed, wat noem jy dit? Ek gee hulle geld vir die hele dorp.
Ja.
Vir die township en goed en ek probeer maar jy weet ek is goed vir almal. Ek glo nie hulle sal my sommer dreig of niks nie.
Okay. Chairperson, they won't really threaten me. I don't believe so because I treat the people in the township very good, in a very good manner. I give them money for the township. So I'm good to them. So I don't believe that they will really threaten me or do something.
Mr. Basson, is there anything else you'd like to tell the chairman before we conclude?
Meneer, behalwe vir dit wat u vir die kommissie of vir die voorsitter nou al reeds gesê het, is daar enigiets anders wat u wil sê vir die kommissie of onder hul aandag bring voordat ons nou klaar maak met die getuienis?
Op die oomblik nie, maar ek sal nou mooi my ding uitwerk en vir hulle gee.
At the moment, there's nothing that I would like to inform the commission any further about, but I would get my things in order to submit to the legal team.
Thank you, Chairman. No further questions of this witness.
Thank you. Just one or two more questions, Mr. Passon. Did I understand you correctly that at some stage when you were speaking to Mr. Prasad about feed for the cattle because the cattle were dying, he said something to you that suggested that there was a financial problem connected with the cattle, with them not buying cattle feed. Did I understand you correctly that you said something to that effect?
Meneer Passon, het ek u reg verstaan dat toe u vir ons gesê het, toe u met meneer Prasad gepraat het oor voer vir die beeste, dat hy iets gesê het in die sin van dat daar finansiële probleme was of dat hy nie geld gehad het om voer te koop, aan te koop vir die beeste nie?
Ja.
Dat ek jy reg verstaan?
Dan kyk, daai miljoen rand het ek gedra tot hulle my betaal het.
That is correct, Chairperson, because that 1 million rand came from my pocket. I carried the expense up until they paid me back.
Oh, did he explain to you how come they didn't have money the farm didn't have money to buy feed for the cattle?
Het hy enigstens aan u verduidelik hoekom hy of die plaas nie geld gehad het om voer te koop vir die beeste nie?
Nee, hy het nooit verduidelik nie. Hy het my net gewaarborg ek sal geld kry. Jy weet, maar hy so accent, jy het hom nie verstaan op my nie, man. Dit is Moeilik om baie slegte aksent, jy weet.
No, Chairperson, he never gave an explanation why he did not have, or the farm did not have the finances. He only gave me the guarantee that I would be reimbursed, and he had such a bad accent that you could not really understand everything that he spoke.
Or he didn't speak English quite well?
So sy Engels wat hy gepraat het, dit was nie behoorlike Engels wat jy mooi kan verstaan nie.
Nee, was baie sleg. Hy het Engels gepraat, maar hy het 5 woorde uit, miskien so 1 of 2 kon uitmaak, jy weet.
Correct, Chairperson. The English he spoke was not very well. In about 5 words of English which he spoke, you could understand 1 or 2. It was very bad.
And so you used your own money to buy cattle feed for the farm on the basis that they would refund you.
Ja,
So meneer, u het van u eie geld gebruik om vir die beeste voer te koop
ja.
met die onderneming of die verduideliking dat u later terugbetaal sal word. Is dit korrek?
Dis reg. En hy het dit vir my gewaarborg en ek het vir hom gesê, as jy my nie betaal nie, vat ek al hierdie nuwe trekkers. Maar ek kry die diere jammer. Dis hoekom ek dit doen, jy weet. Dis nie dat ek geld het nie, ek het maar planne gemaak om dit te doen. Maar as jy die diere so sien lê en opgeblaas in die kallertjies, weet dis hartverskeurende.
Correct, Chairperson. He gave me the undertaking that or the guarantee that I would be paid back. And I told him that you must make sure that I'm reimbursed, because else I would take all these new tractors. And it's not as if I had the money, I made a plan, because I felt sorry for the animals. If you see the animals walking around there, malnourished, the calves, the animals lying there blown up, I made a plan.
And how long did it take for the farm to refund you after you had bought the first
It was
batch of
quick,
feed?
it was in 30 days I think. It was quick,
It was within 30 days.
ja.
Was binne 30 dae gewees wat u terugbetaal
Na
is.
ek die voer afgelewer het, ja.
Correct, Chairperson, within 30 days after I delivered the feed.
Jy weet, en as ek nog iets kan sê, wat ons nou gepraat het, hoekom ek die dreigemente kry nie.
Ja.
Jy weet, daar is disabled in vrede, skole en plekke wat na hulle kyk. En ek gee vir daai mense baie geld.
Ja.
En die hele gemeenskap weet dit, jy weet.
Okay. Correct, Chairperson, and there's just something else that I would like to add with
Yes.
regards to my testimony, that I do not really, or I don't believe that I would receive any threats. In Vrede, there are disabled persons and there are schools and people looking after those persons. And I give them lots of money to look after the people. So that is why I'm saying that.
Yes, okay, no, that's fine. Now, you had been to the farm, the Vrede Dairy Farm, before you had this discussion with Mr. Prasad about why they were not buying feed for the cattle. And after that, you continued to interact with Mr. Prasad and people on the farm. Would you say the reason why cattle died was because those who were running the farm didn't have the knowledge that was required to run a dairy farm properly? They didn't know what to do with regard to giving cattle feed, and they didn't know that if the grass is short, that's not good for cattle? Or is the position that you think they knew all of that, but the problem was money? Or do you say it was a combination of lack of knowledge and money, lack of money?
Meneer, u het die Vrede melkboerdery besoek voor dat u die gesprek gehad het met meneer Prasad oor die voerprobleem met betrekking tot die beeste. As ook daarna het u verdere besigheid gehad en interaksie met die mense op die plaas self en meneer Prasad. So sal u sê dat die rede hoekom die beeste doodgegaan het daar op die plaas, sal u sê dit is omdat die mense wat daardie plaas bestuur het, geen kennis het oor boerdery nie, omdat hulle nie weet die tipe kos of die voer wat gegee moet word vir die beeste, die gras wat kort is en dat hulle nie weet dat dit nie goed is vir die beeste nie, of sal u sê dat hulle geweet het, hulle het die kennis gehad van boerdery, maar geld was die probleem, of sal u sê dat die probleem 'n kombinasie van hierdie twee dinge was?
Ek glo die geld was regtig 'n probleem nie. Ek meen, enige plek sal jou 30 dae gee, jy weet, om kos te koop of.
Ja.
En hulle kon na my toe gekom, want ek sou vir hulle gereël het. Ek het die kontakte om vir hulle kos te gee. Al het hulle nie dadelik geld. Ek dink, wel ek dink dit nie, ek weet dit.
Ja.
Hulle het nie kennis van boerdery nie. En kyk, CP Prasad se woord was wet op hy plaas.
Okay.
Dus van die ander mense wat daar voorman as goed vir hom sê, dis nie kos, ek kyk hier gras. En sê daar is gras, hulle eet. Dis die tipe persoon wat hy was, jy weet.
Chairperson, I don't believe that money or finances were a problem on the farm because any place would give you 30 days to pay for feed which you would like to purchase. They could even come to me. I have the resources, I know the persons, I could arrange it for them. I think, or I actually know, that the problem is that they did not have any knowledge about farming or the proper knowledge. And what CP Prasad said there on the farm was law. The foreman there, if they would go to CP and tell them or tell him that there's no feed for the cattle, he would say, but there is grass, there is food. That is the type of person that he was.
Ons kan nog iets byvoeg.
If I may add something else.
Yes.
Hulle het na my toe gekom as hulle diesel op is,
Ja.
want ek vir hulle gereël vir diesel, vir spaarparte, vir baie goed, jy weet.
Okay.
So daar's nie 'n ding van, daar was nie geld gekos nie.
What I would like to add is that when their diesel were finished, they would come to me for it. They would come to me for spare parts or other things. So it was not a case that there was not money or a problem with it.
And then just the last question. If you are able to, could you tell me about more or less how many head of cattle the farm had before this episode when cattle died, and then more or less how many cattle, if you are able to say, there were subsequently when that episode of cattle dying had passed?
Meneer, is dit moontlik vir u om vir ons te sê, voor hierdie situasie of hierdie episode waar die beeste begin doodgaan het, is u in 'n posisie om vir die kommissie te sê hoeveel beeste daar was voor hierdie sterftes plaasgevind het, as ook hoeveel beeste daar op die plaas was na hierdie sterftes plaasgevind het?
Kyk, ek het hulle gevra toe hulle begin vrek, hoeveel beeste is daar? Toe sê hulle vir my 500. Maar ek verstaan daar was baie, baie meer. En ek was 3 dae terug op hy plaas. Toe gesels vra ek vir hulle, hoeveel beeste het julle nou? Hoeveel het julle oorgeneem by Stina? Dat is 300.
Nou 3 dae terug.
Ja. Ek som net gaan
Okay.
draai maak oor.
Chairperson, in the beginning or at the start where these deaths started occurring, I asked them, how many cattle do you have? And they informed me 500, but I believe that there were much more. And 3 days ago from today, I was there at the farm and I asked them, how many cattle did you take over from Estina? And they informed me 300. I just went there and asked for interest's sake.
Okay, no, thank you very much. You have nothing further? Okay,
Nothing further, thank you, Chair.
yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Basson, for having come to give evidence to the Commission. We appreciate it. And also the cooperation that you are still going to give to the Commission by way of giving it further information. We appreciate. Please be in touch with the legal team and give them whatever evidence you have got.
Meneer Basson, die voorsitter wil u bedank dat u hier by die kommissie was, dat u getuienis gelewer het. Baie dankie daarvoor. En baie dankie vir u bereidwilligheid om verdere hulp te verleen. U kan kontak maak met die regspan sodra u gereed is en dan kan ons ook daardie ander aspek dan finaliseer en uitsorteer vir u. Maar baie dankie dat u hier naartoe gekom het en kom getuig het.
Ek wil vir hom ook net sê baie dankie, maar iets wat my nou in die wiele gaan ry om my verslag van my reg te kry.
Ja,
Ek gaan die 7de vir 'n oogoperasie
ja.
en dan kan ek vir 10 dae nie sien nie.
7 Augustus.
Ja, nou die 7.
Chair,
En ek dink ek moet kyk daarna as ek reg is, laat ek jy goed reg kry vir.
Okay. Chairperson, I would also like to thank you, but there's something which is bothering me which might prevent me for compiling this report for the Commission. On the 7th of August, I will be going for an eye operation, which it would take me about 10 days to recover. So if it's in order, after the operation and the recovery, I would attend to this information and the report for the Commission.
No, that's in order. That's in order. That will still be within an acceptable time.
Dit is in orde, meneer, en aanvaarbaar. Dit is steeds in 'n aanvaarbare tydsverloop. So, dis reg.
Ek moet hom sê baie dankie. Ons hou van hom.
Thank you, Chairperson. We like you a lot.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Basson. Thank you very much. You are excused.
Dankie, meneer. U is dan verskoon.
Kan ek nou opstaan van hier?
May I go?
Yes, you are free to go now.
Dankie.
Thank you very much.
Goed gaan. Dankie ons weer.
And thank you very much to Ms. Interpreter.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Chairperson.
much.
May I also be excused then?
You will have to talk to the legal team in case they still need you. In case we still need you, just talk to them we are going to go for lunch now.
Okay.
So talk to them and they will indicate whether they might need you after lunch or not.
In order, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. We are going to take the lunch break and we will come back at 2 o'clock. We adjourn.
All right. Wat is daai een se naam?